So, so, we are heading into the summer of 2005, and there's several things that happen. There's a couple of free agent signings, but the first thing we have to cover is the massive contract extension that Shaq gets. Shaquille O'Neal and the Miami Heat agreed on August 2nd, 2005. They agreed on a $100 million 5-year contract extension, one that will presumably keep the 12-time All-Star center playing past his 38th birthday on Miami. So, do you think that was a good move by the Heat?
No.
Well, hold on. This guy's second in MVP voting last year. We got to remember that. Like,
I guess
he's second in MVP voting last year. You guys are this close to the NBA Finals.
Don't say you guys.
I believe he's out of his prime. You believe he's out of his prime. We do have hindsight to show us that. But people can still consider Shaq the most dominant center in the world.
But the whole thing is, he's been injured like every single year for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
And he's how old? 33?
Going into this year, I can get you that. I'm pretty sure you're right. Pretty sure he is.
I don't know why people mention. I don't know why people even mention Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with him, because like Kareem was a stick, like at this point in his career, and of course he could play another 10 years. Like Shaq is the complete opposite of what Kareem was. You know what I mean? Like, so I just feel like. And I feel like Pat Riley's a really smart guy, so I don't understand. Maybe he just looked at it as, like he could be a trade asset later or something. I don't know, but it's just, to me, it just
not at that point. Sense. You don't sign him to a contract like that if you think his contract's going to look good.
It's just stupid. It's just, to me, it's just a stupid move.
So he signs it. It kicks in here. So it guarantees him $20 million basically for the rest of his career.
Yeah.
I think that's why you sign it if you're Shaq. If you're Shaq, you look at it like, dude, I don't know how many of these years I have left. And this contract guarantees
Shaq 100%
shit until I'm old.
Worked. Yeah, he definitely did what he had to do. I thought it was crazy that Miami, because think about it. The reason they didn't even get to the finals last year was partially because Shaq was injured.
Yes.
Right?
A healthy Shaq, they definitely feel like right now, a healthy Shaq wins them the championship.
Yeah. Exactly.
They have to feel that way.
So that's probably partially the reason they paid the money, because they're like, well, if this guy's, as long as he's healthy, we're good. Which, it paid itself off with this season. Like up front, they probably felt like it was worth all the money, but then after a while, it's kind of like, I mean, they don't really eat the money. So I guess it works.
So the Shaq's agent basically said, we wanted to make sure that Shaquille was being compensated well into his career. That's the goal. We also wanted to make sure he was paid his value, and it was important that he had flexibility they need in the short term to win a championship. So this does give them more cap flexibility as opposed to paying the massive 27. You know what I mean? Like it's definitely less than that. So they do have a little bit more wiggle room, I guess.
Yeah.
But they are going to make moves after that. The very next day. So that comes out August 2nd. August 3rd. This is one of the biggest trades ever. Not by maybe super impact, but in terms of sheer volume of players involved. I'll do my best to get through this perfectly. The Heat have announced today that they have acquired all-star forward A.Walker from the Boston Celtics, guard J.Williams, also known as White Chocolate, forward James Posey, and guard Andre Emmett from the Memphis Grizzlies, and the draft rights to center Roberto Duernes from New Orleans in a 5-team trade. There's a bunch more here. It'll be on your screen. It's one of the biggest trades of all time. And they traded away Rasul Butler, Eddie Jones, 2 second-round picks, and 2 other guys I've never heard of.
Yeah. It's crazy because Eddie Jones, we were talking about it just the last season, he was like their third guy, and he was been pretty consistent for them. So it's kind of crazy.
He's been pretty consistent everywhere he's gone. It's the story of his career. He's replaced by an all-time great two-guard each and every time. I feel bad for him because I think, especially in like games like NBA 2K, one of the best players to use. One of the most fun all-around two-way players. Shoots threes, plays defense, kind of like a Shane Battier.
Yeah.
That's how he plays in 2K.
He would have got paid top dollar in this league.
Yeah, 100%. His game definitely translates forward into this era.
Yeah,
for sure. No question about it. All right, so we feel like with this trade, we traded a lot, but we got back 3 quality players, said Pat Riley. Antoine Walker is one of the very best, multifaceted, versatile players in the game.
Time out. Yo, imagine being the other 2 of the 5 players. And he's like, yeah, we got 3 good players on this trade. Like,
well, let's look at Antoine Walker before he gets to the Heat.
Yeah.
So, for his career, 20 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal and a half, shooting 41%, but we're in the volume shooting era, so I guess Allen Iverson's shooting 38%. So that's what superstars do right now.
This guy's not a superstar.
He was a multi-time all-star
yeah,
and a multi-year 20-point per game scorer in the shittiest era for scoring there was. That's got to count for something. He's got to be one of like 12 guys to get over 20 points a game.
Yo,
for example, in 01-02, he's at 22. In
for a lot of
2000-2001, he's at 23. There's no way he's not top 10 in scoring in this year.
Like
no way.
42%. No, I don't believe it. But 42% shooting was like his best career shooting.
Yeah, volume, black hole type of shooter.
Yeah,
that's for certain. I'm almost positive.
Let's bet
he's going to be in the top 10.
Let's bet $15.
Oh, 11th! What bullshit! Fuck that! That's bullshit.
I got you. Next time we chill, you already know what you gotta get me, man.
Write it in the comments. Write in the comments what I should do for losing the bet. I'm gonna regret that, but it'll be fine. So
in 5 weeks, Russ is gonna be like, "Why are they telling me this shit?"
Why is his hair all grown out? What's up with that? That's what it's going to be. But Pat Riley says, I think his numbers have shown throughout his career that he's been consistent year in and year out, providing points and rebounds. He's able to handle the ball, pass it, make plays, shoot threes, and rebound the ball. All of that accurate. Like, I agree with that assessment. There isn't anyone in this league better at doing that. That's where we kind of fall off the railings.
Yeah.
Anyone in the league better at doing that? Scoring and rebounding.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wouldn't put Antoine Walker at the all-time top of that list. I believe that he will bring a tremendous, versatile playmaking, scoring, rebounding dimension to our team. This man's just trying to say, this guy does shit. He does all the shit.
Yeah.
He's in his prime, and I think he will pair up brilliantly with Shaquille, Dwayne, and the rest of the team. He is 29, so I guess that's fair.
And he was a good 3-point shooter at the time, right?
Oh, for sure. He's making almost 2 a game.
36.
Shooting 36%, but making 2 a game, taking 5 is definitely on the higher end.
Because that's what I was worried about with losing Eddie Jones. They kind of lost that shooting ability. But I guess with Walker, kind of balances.
White Chocolate also shooting threes. He's at 37%, 1.8 threes a game. Same kind of deal as Walker, except a little bit better.
That's pretty good.
And Jason Williams,
but you see,
30 years old, not that old, but one of the most exciting players in the league. Like, not a guy who's going to be an all-star every year, but some of the sexiest passes ever. One time he had a pass with the back of his elbow that he did behind his back. Yeah, it was so wild. This guy, on your screen will be just a passing montage of orgasm-inducing passes.
But this is what bothers me about the stat thing, like the harping on percentage. Look, he's 37%. The other guy's like 35, right? But he literally is making 0.1 more threes a game than the other guy.
Yeah, like, no, you've made that point before, for sure.
Yeah, I know, but I just have to keep on harping on it whenever I see shit like this. It's just like
it's 1 percentage point. It's 37 to 36. Like it shows.
But still, man,
it's 1 percentage point. It'd be different if one was at like 42 and the other one.
it's like a percentage and a half, all right? Like, people care about that shit. People be like, nah, but this guy was more efficient. And I'm like, yo, go fuck yourself, man.
People care about that shit, but I clearly am not one of them.
He shoot 43% from the field, Antoine, whatever his name is, Walker.
For this year that we're going to get into.
This is his best field goal shooting in his career. That's insane.
Is it really?
Yeah, it was.
I missed that. I knew it was.
That's what I was saying. Like, when I was looking at it, look, 43.5 was his best. It's like not even close.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And he's coming off the bench. This is the first year he's going to be sixth man, which I thought was interesting. I was surprised after all that talking up of Antoine Walker, they ultimately
made him benched him. But when you think about it, Jason Williams
consistently starting. I wonder.
Jason Williams would have probably been the point guard, right? Because isn't Walker a forward?
Yeah, he did start during the season. Jason Williams is the point guard. Yeah, Antoine Walker is definitely splitting between the 3 and the 4 right now.
Yeah, because this goes back to your Wade thing. Like, they must have just thought putting having Wade be the point guard was too much for him, so they just had Jason Williams.
Well, you and I both talked about it last year in the playoffs. Like, he was doing serious damage, but he was turning the ball over a shit ton.
Yeah,
he had multiple 5+ game turnovers. And that's why I think they make this move here on the 22nd of September. NBA.com announces the Miami Heat have announced today that they have signed 9-time All-Star guard Gary Payton. He's 37 this year. What was he doing coming into this? I can't imagine he's still the Gary Payton that we know from 96, 97 and Michael Jordan's
for sure.
legacy breakdown.
For sure not.
He's still starting almost every single game before this point, which is crazy. And we saw him obviously in LA right before Shaq left in 03-04. Weird
and he
season.
Played decent. He didn't have
not a fan of the triangle. Not a fan of the triangle. Tough for chemistry, unfortunately. People liked him, but chemistry on the floor was not good because he just didn't. He would go rogue. He'd go rogue a lot.
Yep. Yeah.
And so now they're going to bring him in to, I would imagine, help Dwayne Wade with his defense and get, just have some veteran experience going into the postseason.
Yeah. And it also helped. When you said help Dwayne Wade with his defense, did you mean to be like a mentor for him, or did you just mean like in general, like you could take off, you could have Gary Payton?
Probably a little bit of both, I would imagine, is why they're.
It was probably both
doing that. Sure. But we know from Kobe Bryant, Kobe Bryant said repeatedly, Gary Payton's the one who taught me how to play defense.
Yeah, he even
Kevin Garnett shares similar stories.
Yeah, he even said it in an interview in one of these games.
Yeah, that's true. But Gary Payton is the first player in NBA history to achieve 20,000 points, 8,000 assists, and 1,000 steals during the course of his career. As of 2022, 3 other guys have had that happen to them. Can you name them? Without looking.
LBJ.
That's one of them.
Russell Westbrook.
That's 2 of
them. CP3.
Wow. It's like you looked at it.
No, I did, but I honestly didn't look at it again for a while. So that was
I fucked up. I should have had Lindsay guess. Damn.
Yeah. She read it too.
Fucking. But I don't. That would be something that Lindsay would have not remembered on the spot if she didn't know it was coming.
She would remember CP because that's her boo.
That's true. I was surprised to see Westbrook on the list. I just didn't think he made it in the steals category.
In the steals,
but he's just in there. He's got everybody else has over 2,000 steals on this list. Westbrook's the only one. He's got about almost 1,700.
Yeah.
But I thought that was interesting.
But he also
when I
has
read
much
that.
less years. He has like 4 or 5 years less than the other.
True. But not that many. Gary Payton and LeBron in total have 1,300 games played. Yeah. But Westbrook, Chris Paul has 1,100, but Westbrook has 1,021 games played. So, like, it's not that far behind.
Yeah, because
he's been around a while.
Well, you got to remember, he had that streak. Remember where he didn't miss a game for years or whatever?
Yeah.
Like, in his life. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah,
it was like, he didn't miss a game for, like, until, like, his 8th season or 9th season in the NBA or something.
Right.
It's crazy.
No, it's true.
Yeah. But still, even with that, like 80 games, you got to think about it. 80 games times, what would that be? No, it'll still be like 3. You need like 3 or 4 a game in order to make up for the 2,000, whatever. But yeah, all right, we could keep on.
No,
harping on this.
You are
just
good.
like math.
Math in the house. But no. So they're going through. They're getting ready for the regular season, and New York Times right before the season writes, no name tags were needed, but the process of melding unfamiliar all-stars should have come as no surprise after Pat Riley tore up the team that ended 1 bad rib, 1 bad thigh, and 2 minutes away from last season's NBA Finals. Dwayne Wade's talking about maybe I got hurt for a reason to bring these guys here and we all celebrate together over on something Bay. I don't know. Yeah. I can't read.
Quick question though. Do you feel like people are looking at this as, is this just 04 Lakers all over again? Because like,
so that's fucking what I was going to ask you. Is this a good move or a bad move? Like, do you think it's being perceived as a good move or a bad move? Because I read both.
Yeah.
I read both sides of this coin.
Yeah.
There are some people that are like, that's what they need, veteran experience. And there's other people that are like, you tore up a great young team that almost made the finals for no reason.
Yeah. Because if they lose, this is legit like the 2021 Nets. Remember, like how they had like a really good team, and then you just was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna trade it off for Harden and have these vets or whatever." It's pretty much similar, very similar. You had a good young team. It was so close to winning the chip, and then you just like if they don't win this championship, this is looked at as like stupidity. Paying Shaq $100 million, bringing in 3 or 4 old ass players that like are pretty much on the way out, like. It's not looked at as a smart move. It's only looked at as smart because they won a chip. I feel like
of the 9 guys in the rotation, half of them are like almost 30, like over 30.
Yeah,
or like really
probably
over
one
30.
of the oldest teams in the league at this point.
Yeah, for average age, most likely.
Yeah,
most likely. I'll definitely try and find that information and put it on your screen. They got to be in the top 3 at minimum.
Yeah,
because it is still like an older league in comparison to what it is now.
Yeah,
but
true.
You got a 37-year-old and a 35-year-old putting up serious minutes on your team.
Yeah,
and then you got 33-year-old Shaq, who is going to like be banged up as always, but he's going into the regular season not worried at all. Shaq says, "It's my job to keep them loose. All we want to do is win. The first time we get a guy on this team who wants to be a leading scorer or wants to get his picture in the paper, then we're going to be in trouble. We're all in trouble, and I don't think we have that." Just a shot at Kobe, I feel like, for no reason. Like, just
fine. It's fine.
Kobe. I just feel like it's directly a shot at Kobe.
Yeah, and then you know what Kobe goes and does this year?
35.
Puts penis in all of the league. It's literally as if you get penis, you get penis, you get penis, you get penis.
It's like Oprah.
He's handing it out. Just handing it out. Do the dance with me, guys. You get penis. You get penis. You get penis. That's what we call this season for Kobe. Penis season. What are we talking about?
O'Neal has added muscle and looks bigger. He looks bigger than he did last season. Although he maintains that he weighs the same 340 pounds. He's so fucking large. He's just massive. A comfortable 340. And with his $100 million deal with the Heat, he took $10 million less than he wanted so Pat Riley could have the financial flexibility to restructure the team. Yeah. I don't think it gets talked about in hindsight. Like, nobody really brings up that Shaq took less money. Like, it was talked about a lot in the moment, but nobody talks about that now. As opposed to a guy like Tom Brady, who, like, his whole career, he takes less money. Tim Duncan takes a lot less money. Everybody hears about it all the time. Yeah. I don't think it's brought up as much with Shaq because of how Shaq is with money, I think.
Well, and it's also because, like, most of his career until he probably started real. Like, I feel like Shaq looked at this as a lick. He's like, bruh, do you not see me? I'm injured. Like, I'm not going to be here for that long. I'm taking all of this money. And I think that's what he looked at it. He's like, I'm not going to be super greedy. Like, I'm going to take $100 million contract and I'm fine with that. Cause like, I'm not going to be. And he probably, like, cause he's not that stupid. Like, I feel like he's very like, I don't know if he's self-aware, but like, I feel like to an extent he has to know. Like, he's not the same.
He at least knows that by age 38, he's not going to be the same guy because he's already, his maturity has elevated since joining this Miami team. And I think the biggest reason for that is he's seeing his own mortality.
Yeah, for sure.
That has to be pointed.
And I feel like part of it was his ego hit with the Lakers. Because you got to think about it. Like, whether he says he wanted to leave or not, like, at the end of the day, Jerry Buss picked Kobe over you because he felt like you weren't going to like you wouldn't be able to, like, be as great as you were for as long as you think you were. And I think that probably hit, like, that's like a trigger in your brain. Like, is this really going to happen? Like, is this really happening? And then probably after that last season, he sees the injuries are still being an issue. Like, it's not like something he can't control it.
Jerry Buss
has no control over it.
Would not have made this contract. No. I'm saying Jerry Buss would not have made this deal.
For sure.
No way. That's why he got rid of him, is because he did not want to be the one to pay Shaq. You know what this reminds me of? In the exact opposite scenario in terms of size, Isaiah Thomas. The Celtics did not want to pay Isaiah Thomas the money after he became king of the fourth and all that shit, because they were like, bro, you're 30 and you're 5'9". You're not fucking lasting in this league. And they knew, and then once he got his hip banged up, they were like, he deserves the money by reputation.
What he did,
but we cannot pay this guy.
That 1 year. Like, my whole thing with Isaiah is, who the fuck thought they were going to pay him like hundreds of millions of dollars for doing that for one season? Like,
hey, all I'm saying is it compares to Shaq, but the exact opposite, like, side of the spectrum.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Shaq's a giant. He keeps getting hurt. We can't pay this guy what he's worth.
Yeah.
Isaiah Thomas is a little person, to say it lightly. Definitely a little person by NBA standards. You're starting to get hurt. We can't pay you this money. It's not worth it. Like, it's the same kind of deal. But Riley denied that he wanted to push out Riley denied that he wanted to push out Stan Van Gundy and resume coaching the Heat, and personally reassured his protege that this was still the case. Tension still lingered. Riley declined a request for comment on this article, but there is no doubt the questions about Van Gundy's status will only increase should the Heat start slowly. Felt like that was very important to them.
Yeah.
Extremely important.
But do you also feel like it's like just the pressure of the media, like pushing it, like just harping on something? Because, like, I never understood, like, why these, like, I feel like a lot of these coach firings is just like the media just needs to start blaming someone. And so they just the first one they always attack is the coach.
I want to get into that when he actually gets fired, because there's a huge injury that happens that we're going to see.
Yep.
That makes me feel like his firing, which isn't a firing, it's in the books as a walking away and a resignation. Yeah. But there's a reason why they did not have a fast start. There's a direct reason.
Yeah, exactly.
But for your question about pressure of the media. It's not pressure of the media. I think it's pressure from Shaq and the veterans on the team who are a little bit younger than Stan Van Gundy. Like, not by much. It was the same deal with Jason Kidd when he coached in Brooklyn, and he had to coach with Paul Pierce, Garnett. Like, it's almost their contemporaries.
Yeah.
Like, so the respect isn't the same.
Yeah, they don't look at him as a coach. They look at him as a peer or
And it says in this New York Times article, O'Neal speaks of Riley with reverence, but does not always seem philosophically in sync with Van Gundy, who replaced Riley on the bench 2 seasons ago. When asked if Van Gundy was trying to implement too much too soon, his playbook is encyclopedic, according to the article. And if practices were too long, O'Neal smiled and zipped his lips.
Yeah.
He's fucking playing with people. Like, it's his way of going, this is stupid. I don't like the way this operates. It's why he had said previously that he never saw himself under a Pat Riley regime because of what we know today as heat culture.
Yeah.
But
grinded out nature.
There's no way he doesn't fall apart sooner without it, though. Like, he needed the weight training program. Yeah. He needed to be pushed harder.
He probably would have been done this season before without this, to be honest.
Agreed. I don't think he gets through the playoffs.
Yeah.
It would be extremely difficult. Wade is like, it was interesting to see that Wade was like on the fence with all the guys coming in, like being the young guy.
Yeah.
Who's like,
because, think about it. He literally is looking at it like, if I'm not injured, we probably in the NBA Finals. Like, why are we changing up everything? Why, like,
all my friends are leaving. This is bullshit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense. But the season preview have the Miami Heat as the number 1 team in the East. So this is what I was saying. Like, there's a lot of mixed reviews in the newspapers. It's either this team's too old and they have too much money on the line, and they broke something or they fixed something that wasn't broken. And then there's other things saying the Miami Heat, this is a great assemblage of talent. The problem is newcomers like A.Walker, J.Williams, and Gary Payton are used to being the man with the ball. On this team, Wade and O'Neal should take 70% of the shots. Stan Van Gundy and time will have to make this hodgepodge of egos work. James Posey adds to their defensive toughness. Their preseason was dreadful. Because
usually happens, though.
Trying to get everything going. They tried to, I mean, we've seen it with super teams in the past where it doesn't always mesh immediately. Chemistry is something that takes time, no matter what. Sure. But they say still he have the most dynamic duo in the league, being Shaq and Wade.
Is that accurate?
Name me another duo from this era going into 05-06. Who do we got?
Parker, Timmy.
You think that's better than Wade and Shaq?
I'd definitely take Timmy over Shaq at this point, in my opinion. I'm not
against it. Spurs are going to win 63 games this year.
I don't know if I take Tony Parker over Dwayne Wade though. Tim Duncan.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not willing to say that.
Yeah,
I'm not willing to say that.
All right. How about who else we got? We got trying to think of let me see the teams real quick.
Phoenix, you got Amari and Steve Nash. That's pretty fire. I mean, they were nice.
Yeah. And I think Amari was averaging like 20-something points a game, wasn't he?
This team is just insane.
That was the year before.
This team is insane. 6 guys in double figures.
What happened
Sean Marion, Beast.
Oh, Amari must have got injured. Oh, he got injured, yeah.
He did get injured.
Yeah.
So I guess they're out. They're out. But preseason, that counts. I don't give a shit.
Yes, yeah, for sure. That's an argument right there.
I'm just looking at some of these other teams.
Yeah,
you got LeBron and whoever, they put next to him.
Yeah. You don't really got much, honestly. So that's probably why. Like, there's not much of a...
Allen Iverson, Andre Iguodala. Is Iguodala on this team?
Yeah, yes, I think he is, but still. He's not.
I don't think he's at his point yet at all.
There's Chris Webber though. Chris Webber's there. I'm taking AI and Chris Webber over Shaq and Wade.
No, you can't say that. No way.
Nah, I'm doing it.
Chris Webber literally hated himself being in Philadelphia.
I don't give a shit.
The whole time he was like, 10? "This sucks. This is terrible."
Yeah. He giving me 20 and 10.
God damn. They did, and they did so much. It ultimately led to 38 and 44.
Yo, what the fuck?
Really led to a lot of women. Did they even make the playoffs?
No, I'm being.
No, they didn't. They didn't even make the playoffs.
They didn't. How? Like, that's crazy.
Ass soup.
That's like,
look good on paper.
AI,
good stats, bad team.
AI and Russell Westbrook, like, their careers are so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so similar. It's crazy.
That's the thing. Their mentalities are very similar. At least it comes off that way.
Russell Westbrook a hoe. AI don't got no hoe in him. That's a fact.
What in the actual fuck?
Nah,
I don't agree.
Fact.
I think they're both non-hoes.
You make it sound like they're getting pegged or something. Like they don't have a hoe in them.
Nah, Russell.
Like no woman is putting anything up their butt. Like they don't have that.
No. I'm not talking about that. What the heck? We're not talking about that. But he a hoe.
That's what it sounds like. Like he don't have a hoe in him. Like what?
Nah, he don't. my man, yo, like 20 years later, you know what he's wearing? He's wearing the Kobe. He's wearing a Kobe. All right, we're not even doing that. I'm not.
So Shaq, I got your back. I'm gonna steer this. I'm gonna steer this back on. So Shaq, fucking plays 2 games. 2 games into the season, once again injured.
Yeah. Immediately,
sprains his right ankle.
Like this fucking asshole. Pat Riley, that's the immediate thing he says. This fucking asshole. Paid him $100 million, and he wants to just go fucking die on me.
Go down in fucking November. He wants to go down in November.
Going down
when we need him. When we need to build our chemistry.
Piece of shit. Ho.
Fucking ridiculous. Wade said, "We don't want injury. We don't want injuries, especially to our best player." Wade said, "We just hope he can come back real soon. He's a big guy, and anytime he gets injured, it's a lot of weight that goes down on his knee, ankle, or whatever he hurt."
Yeah, God bless Dwayne Wade, man.
God bless Dwayne Wade, thinking he's not the best player on the team.
He's so nice. He's such a nice guy, man. This is why.
No wonder why Shaq loved him. No wonder why Shaq loved him.
It's like, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. Like, he just doesn't know. He doesn't comprehend what's happening.
Shaq is going to miss the next 18 games, and they're going to go 500. They're going to go 9-9 over those 18 games.
Yeah.
And literally, after this period of time is when Stan Van Gundy takes his leave, takes his walk. Literally, he comes back on the 11th, right? Shaq comes back on the 11th. On the 12th, Stan Van Gundy resigns. Pat Riley steps in as new head coach.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I have no words. I have no words to the level of sadness I feel for Stan Van Gundy. Like,
you really feel bad.
If this were me, as a man with an incredible amount of anxiety, if I'm coaching this team and my best player goes down and we start sucking and the pressure's on, like, he should be fired. He should be removed. Get rid of him. He can't get this fucking team to work. He's terrible. And I'm sitting there the whole time as I'm sitting there late at night trying to run through plays and make this shit come together. I'm looking at it going, we need Shaq! We don't fucking have Shaq! That's our problem. What do you think is the biggest issue in the team that's leading to this struggle? I don't know. We just paid, like to your point, we just paid $100 million to this big oaf of a bastard who can't keep his legs on straight.
Yeah.
Fuck! And then Pat Riley's like, hey man, I think you should step down. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? I'd be
you
so
know
offended.
damn well he cursed out Pat Riley.
Oh, I would have. I would have been like, are you fucking kidding me, Pat? This is my dream. This is my dream. I could do it. I could steer the ship. Just give me back Shaquille.
You sound like Jerry West from
it's insane.
It's
just insane. I would feel like Jerry West in that movie.
And you know, Shaq's a whole asshole.
With some fucking players.
You know, and mind you, they won that game too. But you know, Shaq's an asshole because they're very like he gives you 10 points that game that he comes back.
So here's my next question:
like, scoot him out.
Could Shaq have come back earlier if he wanted to save Van Gundy's job?
If I was Shaq, I wouldn't have. Not because I didn't want him there. I would, in terms of actual health. Like,
if we're going under the assumption that Van Gundy was asked to step down and didn't resign on his own, if we're going under that assumption, which is a fair assumption,
it also doesn't take a month to heal from a sprained ankle, though. That's also like.
I'll elaborate as someone who's had a sprained ankle because he's a big man though. He's a big man.
I'm a big man too. Like,
I'm not trying to call you 350 pounds, bro.
Yeah, but I'm still fat for my size, and Shaq is like, I guess, like, he's big for his size, but you wouldn't say he's fat for his size, would you?
He's getting there at this stage of his career.
Yeah,
in this stage of his career, the muscle's turning to fat more than
I'm straight fat.
Previously.
He's got what you would call a dad bod. Shaq's got a dad bod.
Sure,
I got you.
Sure,
so, and I got a fat bod, right? So when I sprained my ankle, I probably healed up in like 2 weeks, like where I could like play basketball again. Maybe,
and
like,
this is from
a professional athlete that's like going crazy and going up and down the court 48 minutes. Maybe it takes a little longer, but I feel like a whole month though. That might be
after you healed that sprained ankle. How long did it take you to like do physical activity? Took 2 weeks.
I used to play through sprained ankles a lot of times.
Sure. This is my point. Yeah. This is what I want to hear because I think Shaq was keyed in on the fact that Van Gundy, that Riley was looking at, stepping in, like being more actively involved. And I think Shaq looked at the real sprained ankle. I think he really did sprain his ankle. But I think he's sitting here like after this win streak, like, man, the team doesn't need me. And it looks good. But then right around here when they probably need him again, I think he's looking at it like, if I hold out a little bit longer, I bet your ass Pat will look at it and go, they need me.
Yeah. It was like 5.5.
If Shaq was keyed in on that, that's got to be a thought.
Yeah. He's 5.5 weeks. It took him 5.5 weeks to get back from that sprained ankle. Maybe it was like a really harsh sprain though. Like I didn't really see the injury, but I don't know. That's a lot. I feel like he was kind of milking it. He had to.
He goes down in a heap under the basket. It'll be on your screen.
And mind you, he's getting like medical attention every day. He's
Shaq. He's Shaq.
Yeah,
money is not an option.
Like for me, I was getting shit. My mom didn't even help me. She wouldn't give a shit. She was like, ice. What was it? Rice? Is it called rice? I think it's called rice or rice. Right.
Rice?
I think that's the name.
A bag of white seed looking.
No, I thought it was called something. I thought it was supposed to rest.
Oh, the recovery position.
Yeah,
the recovery position.
Is it rice? Is it rice?
No, it's fuck. I used to be a lifeguard. I should know this. It'll be on your screen. I'll find it in one of my books.
Yeah, it's like rest. I thought it was rice. I thought that it was called.
Chill, I know what you're talking about.
Rest, ice, shit.
Both of us, me and Lindsay, both former lifeguards. Couldn't tell you this on the spot.
You're welcome.
That's why we were retired.
That's what I did. I should know this.
Yeah, that's what I did, right, guys? And Shaq over here has people massaging his thing, giving him blood flow, everything. Yeah. Bro, in 3 weeks he was all right. He waited.
I'm just saying he could have been all right
for no reason because he a hoe. I'm trying to tell you he a hoe.
But
Thank you.
I'm just saying, like that's what he is. He's a hoe.
In a sudden but not entirely unexpected move, Pat Riley came down from the front office today to return as the Miami Heat's head coach, replacing Stan Van Gundy, who resigned 21 games into a disappointing season because he said he wanted to spend more time with his family. That's how you know he's lying. There's just I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. You've been in the NBA your whole career. Now all of a sudden, your kids matter when you're losing. Get the fuck out of here, Stan Van Gundy. It should have been obvious. Should have just told the truth. Like, don't get me wrong. If you want to have fun with your kids, have fun with your kids. But that's the reason you're walking away from a championship contender. Come on.
Yeah, but but you gotta think about it. There's less questions if you say that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
That's for sure. That's for certain. No one's gonna do what I just did and go, nah, he's not spending time with his family.
Yeah, no one's gonna be an asshole.
Only do that. You can only do that with 20 years of hindsight. You can't do it. Can't do it in the moment. No reporter in the room is gonna be like, "Do you really love your kids?" Not gonna happen. Super unlikely.
I would have been on my Geechee Gotti shit. Fuck them kids.
Brock Lesnar, I don't give a shit about your kids. But the announcement made in a 45-minute news conference this morning in Miami, where Van Gundy and Riley sat side by side, was a switch of positions that has come full circle. Riley stepped down as the head coach.
Wild game, man.
Riley has stepped down. Riley stepped down as head coach, team president, right before the 2003-04 season, and gave the job to Van Gundy, who guided the Heat to a 112-73 record in the 2 seasons. Not great, not horrible, but not great.
Yeah.
So
Pat Riley's career, I think. What is his career record?
Pat Riley's at this point?
Damn, man. You know what I forgot to mention? You want to know what I forgot to mention?
What?
Shaq also, while you're doing that, Shaq also, during this time, with that whole contract situation, fucking getting all injured and bullshit, my man is the highest paid player in NBA history at this point. And he's just robbing. He's literally robbing these people blind.
Pat Riley, career coaching record and buyout is ESPN. Pat Riley, before 2006, had almost 50 wins every season of his coaching career. Outside of 1999, where he had 33 wins in a 50-game season. And then the year right before he stepped down, in 2002, he was 36-46.
Yeah. I mean, it helps.
No. Actually, I take that back. He wasn't coaching that year. That was the Van Gundy season.
Yeah, you see? That's what I'm saying. Like, it helps when you got Magic and Kareem, right? Look at that. That's where most of his W's.
Hey, he also had Patrick Ewing.
So
and Alonzo in his prime. He's got Alonzo.
Yeah, exactly.
Again,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I was surprised when reading through that and seeing like he's really been around like some really great big men in his career.
Oh yeah, there's a reason why Shaq wanted to be coached by him.
Yeah,
that's fact.
Arguably. No, not arguably. 2 of the 10 greatest big men. I mean, 2 of the 10 greatest players of all time. He's coached.
Yeah, I was going to say I would go even higher and say 2 of the 5 greatest big men. 3 of the 10.
I know that. Yeah,
3 of the 10 greatest big men. If you want to include Ewing, I think Ewing's probably 10th on that
Ewing's
list.
top 10. Yeah.
Joel Embiid and Jokic are coming for him. I'll say that. I don't know how much longer he's going to be in that top 10.
Joker's already above Ewing. You got 2 MVPs.
To do the apex greatest centers of all time would definitely be an interesting.
All right, comment in the comment section. Who you got, Ewing or Joker?
That's a good one. Definitely let us know.
I feel like a lot of younger people are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" But a lot of these older heads are probably like, "How the hell do you dare?" So let us know.
But Riley's going to say at the conference, with Shaq not being here for 18 games, various maladies, guys changing roles, I don't want to make any excuses. Injuries are part of the game, but saying that, I do believe that this team is going to have to make a decision whether they want to be a part of greatness. This isn't about winning a championship. That's just a symbol. Players who care want to be part of great teams. So that's how he starts, by calling out the team.
Talk your shit, Patty.
Calling out the team.
I like him already.
Being like, Shaq may have been hurt, but you guys are talented enough to step up. I actually agree with that. I agree with that. We went over that in the beginning of the video. Like, yeah, I definitely agree. Stan Van Gundy added that the timing stinks. That's the quote. I don't think anyone up here thinks I'm getting forced out. If so, I would have gotten every dollar on my contract and walked out the door. Anybody speculating otherwise has to do so in total disregard to the facts. So his reason for claiming he didn't get forced out is he's not leaving with his money. That just potentially makes you a terrible negotiator. That's not whether, like, no, I'm just playing. Fucking, he probably did resign but it was definitely not just all his family.
They
definitely
probably just paid him under the table, to be honest.
Yeah, they could have easily done that.
Yeah.
They could have. But, like, I think, I just think it's just weird. Maybe there's a family emergency that we don't know about. I got to imagine maybe it's something like that.
Honestly, we don't give a fuck about you, Jeff Van Stat. Whatever the hell you are, man. We don't care about you anymore. Bye bye. We up to the next. Let's go. We in December. Fuck you, Jeff, Stan, whoever the hell you are, man.
Yeah.
Which one is the one that commentates? That's Jeff?
They both commentate now.
Oh shit. Which one is the one that commentates with
Mark Jackson with Mama There Goes That Man?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say something way worse. I was gonna say
no, just don't. Just let it go now. Now it's gone. Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, I won't do it because I was good. You guys have probably been happy about what I was gonna say.
So this is the last part of the article. So just last year, Riley insisted that he did not want to return to the grind of the NBA season with the travel and the stress. But this past summer, he started to feel restless and wanted to be more involved in the team he was assembling. This is the quote that I think is the most meaningful quote, and I think Pat nails it. I have an obligation to this franchise and to Mickey Arison. I'm going to put off my hip replacement surgery. I have a responsibility to this team, to the players I traded for and signed. Right now, at this moment, I'm the best person to do that. As far as the other things that go into the game, I can handle that. That's wild. Is some badass shit. Yeah. That's some badass shit. And that is I respect the shit out of that.
Yeah.
You're the general manager. It's what Jordan tried to do. I feel like MJ was thinking in a similar position when he came back. Yes, he had the itch to play again, but also he wanted to help the guys that he felt like he brought in. Yeah. And I feel like Pat Riley is definitely in a similar boat, but he's going to be way more successful.
Well, he also he wasn't the one. Like, if he had to do it, he would definitely feel just as bad. Jordan was like, oh, I'll do it. Like, I'll be the one to do it. And it's just like, bro, you're 43. Like, let's not do this.
Don't you worry about it, man. Just give me the ball in the fucking low post. I got this. Yeah. Which side do you want it on? People are accusing Shaq, obviously, of, orchestrating everything, right?
Yeah, of course.
ESPN's Rick Bucher tabbed Shaq as a culprit, but he was a lonely voice. Shaq dismissed Bucher in the usual manner, saying the day he becomes credible is the day Shaquille O'Neal becomes the 48th white president of the United States.
Oh, he said white. I thought he said 48th president.
48th white president of the United States.
Yo.
If you read it really fast, I read it the same exact way until just now. It's just fucking hilarious.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Of course, coaches do have a way of disappearing around O'Neal. Let's think about that for a second. Did he get a coach fired in Orlando?
Yeah.
He did, didn't he?
Yeah, it was, I can't remember his name, but back in 96.
And he got dealt the guy at the late 90s before Phil Jackson.
Yeah. He
had a lot to do with that firing. But also, like, you get input from your best player.
No, yeah, of course. No? This is kind of like, this is the same thing that they did to LeBron. Like,
yeah.
Every time something happened, they blamed it on him.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
That's definitely true.
Well, it's good
just
to
Shaq was so unapologetic.
Yeah. Well, it's good to, like, see, like, when you go back into NBA history, it doesn't look as abnormal what LeBron's doing. Like, because Shaq's pretty much been doing this for the last 15 years.
That's a common theme that we've seen throughout this entire legacy breakdown.
Yeah.
Is Shaq is, I think the best way to put it is Shaq is the first player to, because I think even Magic Johnson was doing this before Shaq. Because he went out and was like, if you can't give me what I want with my head coach, I want to trade.
Yeah, but only with the coach. Not with the players. Like, Shaq is doing it with the players, coach, everything. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like Shaq is the first person to ever really, like, swing his dick around.
He's definitely the first guy to be a, quote, general manager.
Yeah.
I will say that for certain. And he's called himself a general manager a few times throughout this. So Shaq and Kobe are going to go through round 2 of their Christmas matchup. Yeah. I didn't even realize they played 2 years in a row. And they have 2 exciting games this year with, what do you call it?
This is the one I feel like everyone talks about, though.
Especially considering this Christmas game, they're way closer in position. Like, they both have a very similar record.
Yeah.
They're both like around 500 and just like doing okay. Kobe's going to have 37, I think, on Christmas.
Yeah, doing what he does.
But this is not my favorite Laker. We have not yet approached my favorite Heat Lakers game. That's coming up right now with what happens on the 16th, where...
Oh, sorry. This is actually the famous game.
When we were originally... You go ahead.
I was going to say, just for that Christmas game, it ended up being a pretty tight game, and doesn't this dude, Gary Payton, have a big game, and he talks a lot of shit to Lamar Odom?
Yeah, he does. He does do that.
He literally like got in Lamar Odom's head and everything, and he was like, they were like even jabbing at each other at the end of the game. It's pretty funny. If I wasn't a Lakers fan, I would have probably thought that was pretty interesting. But you know what?
But as soon as I saw it, I wanted him to die on the spot.
Yeah, fuck him and his stupid ass son.
But yeah, I don't like his son. I think he's a great player.
Yeah, he's actually really nice. Broke his arm for no reason, but it was fine.
But yeah, they were still beefing on Christmas.
Yeah,
they didn't even tap up. They're not even getting close to each other.
Yeah, Shaq was trying to be all cool and shit, man.
Putting up points. There's going to be the Gary Payton altercation. Kobe, like I said, 37
You're welcome,
points.
Gary. You're welcome.
Just beat the piss out of him. But yeah, Gary Payton had 21 points off the bench. And he was called for a tech in the third quarter. I'm sure it'll pop up on your screen as I'm talking. But I wanted to get to that quote.
Sorry, Gary. He's over here all mad and shit. Sorry, you can't guard him. He's not that. He's not MJ.
Gary's also 37.
Yeah, no, it's all right. You hold this 37 piece, boy.
Pat Riley said of Gary Payton, it was Back to the Future stuff for Gary.
Yeah. Yeah, we can't be talking about Back to the Future and then he can't guard my mans. Hold that. Boy, stop playing with me.
So
here's the give you a 40 piece.
Here's the tech from Wade. Wade delivering a hella elbow in retaliation for Kobe's elbow that they didn't call.
He lucky my man ain't pop him in the mouth. Fuck out of here.
And then they got teed up. Odom and Gary get teed up.
Get the fuck out of here, whole ass.
But yeah, fun game, but not my favorite game. My favorite game is the one that they play about 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
A few weeks later. Not 2 weeks, but a few weeks later.
Yep.
Where it is Heat Lakers, right? And the Shaq and Kobe decide, as we see here, to dap up, and it is a conscious decision on Shaq's part on Martin Luther King Day to say we should stop acting like we want to fight, we want to come together.
Ring. I think this will be the last game where this game gets a lot of hoopla. I don't think the public really wants to hear about it too much anymore.
We had a game on Martin Luther King Day. I didn't want them talking about beef on that day. Remember that day? Everybody was he goes back, and I just came to you and I put my hand. I was like, I hold with his hand.
Of course.
See, NBA stands for nothing but actors. Like I tell people this all the time. We had our disagreements, but in real life, it's not like I'm going to, have an argument with you when you're with your family.
Right.
Like it's this life.
It's always Uncle Shaq.
But we had to keep it going. So I love you, but I don't want to talk to you.
And it was really cool in the moment. I remember vividly as a kid in the moment. Like, oh, Shaq and Kobe made up. I remember this. But but now that I have all this time to know, like, Shaq was just like, I was the guy who had to keep our beef going, whatever, that type of shit.
Yeah.
I feel like he's still not happy with Kobe. Like, I feel like he still doesn't really like him. He's just like, let's do this for the cameras, step up. Now go fuck yourself up, whatever. Yeah,
probably. Yeah. Well, you know it because they talk about it in that little interview thing years later, right? And they talk about how like when Kobe won his 5th, Shaq was like still pissed and throwing shit. Like clearly, like they had that competitive edge to them.
Yes,
but that just shows. This is again proves to you that Shaq's a hoe because my man Kobe just straight up. I'm cool. I was cool with squashing the beef. He was never beefing.
But when Dario says hoe, he means hoe like the way Michael Jordan says hoe, not in the way people consider like a prostitute. It's not what he means.
Yeah. He's not a prostitute. Means, like, he's just a hoe.
The way specifically Michael Jordan uses the word hoe towards what's his face? The scrub guy.
So what Russell's pretty much telling y'all is if y'all bitching about me saying hoe, y'all better be bitching about Michael Jordan saying hoe too. That's what he's saying. Y'all bitching.
And since you want to sweep that under the rug, we can sweep this under the rug.
Yeah, facts.
But when one beef ends for Shaq, another begins. Right? Always. Also, the Heat are undefeated against the Lakers with Shaq as a member of the Heat to this point. So, Shaq versus Kobe, right? They all show each other love, but
Riley definitely dyeing his hair because his hair is definitely not that color.
It looks sexy. It looks beautiful. Majestic. Kobe, bang, bang.
Hold that, Wade. Hold that. You guys ask Gary Payton for more help.
But here we go. So Shaq's going to come, punch and dunk, really start to get excited here on this end of the court. J.Williams, Shaq, huge putback, shits on Andrew Bynum, the rookie. But Bynum's going to come right back down the court. It's my favorite moment in the history of the rivalry. Right back down the court. Bang!
Dunked on your bitch
nice
ass.
Little move, dunk on him. Yeah. And then Shaq's going to cry like a little bitch. He's going to get upset.
Boom!
He's going to fake a fight right
What you doing, boy? What you doing? Why you acting tough out here, boy? You know who I am, man? They call me Shaq Attack, man. They call me
here's the quote.
Boy.
Here's the quote from Shaq because on draft day, let me find the draft day quote because I think it's important.
Draft day. This is it. It's
no, this is what Shaq said.
Draft day.
Bynum irked O'Neal on draft day by saying he was a lot like O'Neal, except he actually made his free throws. Only 17 at the time, Bynum didn't know that O'Neal never likes to hear about his missed free throws or added pounds. So he goes, tell Bynum Shaq doesn't respond to juvenile delinquents without a college degree. Tell him to get his degree and then we can talk. In the meantime, fuck off, essentially.
Did he also say he was a doctor?
Yeah. No, yeah, actually what he said is, in the meantime, he should call me Dr. Shaq because I'm working on my PhD.
Yeah.
But on the Kobe beef ending, I just really wanted to point this out. Shaq credits it to Bill Russell talking to him. So you can add 11 championships and an ending of the beef to Bill Russell's resume as being a top 2 NBA player all time.
Top 2?
Top 2 NBA player ever. He ended the beef. He said he told him. So here, hold on.
So quick question, just because, and then after this, I promise it's gonna be like just a quick one. So what makes him 2 instead of 1?
I had orders from the great Bill Russell. Shaq said he was telling me how rivalry should be. I asked him if he ever disliked anybody he played against, and he said never. He said I should shake Kobe Bryant's hand, let bygones be bygones, and bury the hatchet. We spoke about something more important than basketball.
Yeah, I swear to God, he made
second greatest player ever. Love it.
Made it up.
Love it.
All right.
Sorry, you were cutting out earlier. I just thought I'd read the quote and not, you were cutting out.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, let's just move on. Let's go.
But yeah,
thank God for
this is my favorite. This is my favorite. This is my favorite Heat Lakers game by a lot. And all these games are like competitive and close.
Yeah.
Like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. Shaq elbowing Andrew Bynum.
Oh man. Yo, if I was Kobe, I would have just got a crack at him and ran. What? Just ran. I would have.
But it's Andrew Bynum.
I would have mellowed his ass.
A guy who was making millions of dollars and playing good in the NBA and just decided, I don't like basketball anymore. I'm done.
Yeah, exactly. Once he went to the 76ers, he was like, fuck yeah.
He was like, fuck the cold. Fuck Philadelphia.
He's like, all these beards.
I broke my leg bowling. I sprained my ankle bowling.
He said, all these beards and black and milds, I gotta leave.
Man, when he left the NBA, there are a few guys that had just like an emotional negative response pointed out them more than Andrew Bynum. Like it was visceral hatred. NBA fans hated Andrew Bynum. Yeah. Hated him.
He used to be my guy.
Just never cared about basketball. Even when he was on the Lakers, he never cared about basketball. That was like his thing. That was like the narrative on him.
Really? I never felt like that. I felt like he was the second best center.
Yeah, because he was an all-star.
At some point. Yeah.
Some people considered him better than Dwight for a cup of coffee. One of those people being Shaq. More on that later.
Yeah, me too.
But
he had a way better post game than Dwight, for sure.
So, but Miami's gonna go on like a losing streak.
That's what you get for being a bitch, trying to front on my boy.
Is that how that works?
Yeah, you front on my boy.
You beat Kobe and then you lose. They're gonna be. Their record is what at this point? They're 30-20, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I wonder where that is in terms of the best in the league. Man, Pistons were raping them. Goddamn. So the Heat, that's out of the top 5. So they're underperforming, but all these teams outside of the Pistons are West Coast teams. So they're still second in the conference. LeBron is creeping up on them here. So, they're playing okay, but not obviously up to the standards that they were expecting to play to.
Yeah.
And the team is not really gelling the way that they originally intended to, or like that they had hoped. And by
this point, you'd hope that they would be.
Yeah, and they talk about in the documentary about this championship season and in future reunions about this team that this game against the Mavericks was the turning point.
That was tough because we got a lot of criticism individually, as a team. And, these were guys that have proven that they can play in this league. And, everybody came here just to do one thing, was win. And we weren't doing that.
It all came to a head in February when they were blown out by 36 points in Dallas.
I don't like what I see from Miami here. I don't see any fight in this team right now. That's not like a Pat Riley team. I've never seen a Miami team just sort of concede. It's sense of urgency that are starting clicking in here.
That sense of urgency is a Dallas Maverick team. Any good team, that wants it has a sense of urgency to do it now, and we've been up and down with that all season long.
I think that was truly the defining moment in our season. The guys just stepped up in the locker room right there in Dallas after that blowout and said, look, what do we need to do to get better, coach?
Everybody said, look, let's put all the stuff behind us. They want us to fail. Let's go out and just get this.
They're going to lose by 36 to the Mavericks. They're going to lose by 36.
That's very interesting that this game is the turning point because then they face them.
And then they face the Pistons, right?
Well, I meant they faced the Mavericks in the finals, so that's why. That's
true.
Yeah,
that's true. Wow, that's so fucked. I didn't even think about that. I don't know why I didn't think about that, but that's a great point. This game, Dirk just absolutely rapes them. They go off from 3, 11 of 16 from 3-point range. 112 to 76. Nobody steps up. Like, even the big two. Terrible game.
Yeah.
Like,
but they only shot like 25 shots between the two of them, which is weird.
They scored 76 points on 66 shots. Like, they just weren't shooting enough. And they had 18 turnovers. That's the reason.
That's not weird. They only played 27.
18 turnovers.
They must have got blown out right away.
Yes, but they really ended it in the third quarter where Dallas had a 38-point quarter.
Yeah.
Kobe's going to drop 62 points in 3 quarters on this team.
Facts. So that's all right. So I understand this.
That was it.
Kobe
I shouldn't have said. I should have said nothing. You're right.
I know this is not a Kobe legacy breakdown, but I love how people always say Kobe dropped 81 on the Toronto Raptors. But the Dallas Mavericks went to the NBA Finals, and the month before that, Kobe said, "I'll give you 62 and 3/4, and I'll save the fourth quarter just because I want to chill." Just so y'all know, he had more. He had the
more
same
points
amount
than your whole team.
Yeah, literally in the third quarter. By the third quarter, Kobe had, I think, the same or more points than the Dallas Mavericks. You're welcome, people. Learn about some shit, bitches.
After this loss, they're going to go on a 10-game win streak, starting with the Pistons, which is a comfort behind one. And to score 100 points on the Pistons is like a fucking feat in 05-06. Like,
facts. We saw it just last season. Yeah, we were just talking about it last season, how they were freaking beating people and like they weren't scoring 70 points. You know what I mean?
Still, nobody really steps up for them, but Wade and Shaq like do the Kobe and Shaq.
Yeah,
like that's really what it's supposed to be. Let's get our quick 70 from the two guys and call it a day. Like
that is that looks like a very Kobe and Shaq type game.
Especially after reading almost every major Kobe and Shaq's box score over the last fucking 8 years. It does look familiar. Over the 10-game streak, Shaq's going to average 23, 9.5 with 2.3 blocks per game and shoot 65%. Wade's going to average 32, 6, and 6 with a steal, shooting 56% from the field.
That's wild.
Off they go.
Yeah.
J.Williams, 13 and 6. So they're really now all of a sudden they're starting to figure it out. The whole team's just starting to really like have an understanding for what their roles are under Pat Riley and just throughout the moves are being made, and it's going to culminate. I think that one of the biggest ways you know a team is playing well is when there's a lot of random guys with high assist numbers. Like that'll happen on really great teams. And a great example here, Shaq, his second and last triple-double of his career. He's only got 2 in his career. This is one of them.
Did we go over the first one?
Yeah. It was in his second year where he had 15 blocks and he got a triple-double with blocks. It was completely savage.
I know it sounds crazy that I don't remember that, guys, but it was literally like months ago.
Check it out in the archives. Every Magic episode is a quality one. But 15, 11 rebounds and 10 assists for Shaq. 7 of 9 from the field. Playing point Shaq. Absolutely being point Shaq. O'Neal was the big distributor on Tuesday night, handing out 10 assists for his second career triple-double and helping the Miami Heat move closer to locking up the 2 seed in the Eastern Conference.
You want to know what's also pretty dope about this is Pat Riley, like saying what he said when he first, became coach of the team. With one, just because a player is out doesn't mean that you guys can't win games. Because like in this case, Dwayne Wade was gone because
he was out. Yeah, I think that's why this happened too.
Because he had flu-like illness, and people had to step up. And you see Antoine Walker shooting 26 shots, and obviously, and they were pretty much doubling Shaq all game. That's why he just kept passing it out for easy layups, dunks, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so it's kind of dope to see it come full circle.
100%. That's I could have said it better myself. I've been a very unselfish player, Shaq said. I knew they were going to double, so I just wanted to keep my guys involved. I learned a long time ago that if I keep my other guys involved, it'll be an easier game for me. I just kept making the good pass, and my teammates were making me look good. That sounds like some shit you'd hear from Shaq on NBA, on Inside the NBA in 2022. Yeah. That's a quote I've seen from him many more times. But the last thing I wanted to do was look at MVP.
Yeah.
Because I know Shaq doesn't have enough to win it.
Enough games, you mean? Or enough,
he doesn't have enough games to...
I'd be shocked if he's even in the top 5.
I think he's... I don't know. I have to look. Let's look together to get that. Because I feel like his numbers are down, but the league as a whole isn't having like you got your Iversons, you got your T-Max. I don't even think T-Max.
I thought it was Kobe and LeBron that were in the running for MVP in this year.
So yeah, Shaq's not even coming up because he doesn't qualify. So I want to see. You said Kobe was the runner-up?
I thought Kobe and LeBron were the runner-ups for MVP this year, but I can't remember. Because I remember when I thought we did in LeBron's legacy breakdown.
I think you're right about that. That sounds familiar.
You're
right. We did look at this when we did LeBron's legacy breakdown, available in the archives. But yeah, Shaq's not even on the list. He did not play enough games.
That's crazy. Dirk too. Yeah.
But this is a very split up MVP race. Like as we alluded
that doesn't make sense. Why is Kobe 4th, but he has 22 first place votes?
I don't understand. Why does Shaq think that he should be in this MVP race?
No, I think he says 05.
He said over me twice.
But Kenny, Coach Reggie, was he true MVP or was he a sympathy MVP?
No, he was a true MVP.
Over me twice? Oh, get out of here! Hey.
He doesn't say over me once. He goes,
yeah, he's
I don't know how he has
crack.
2 MVPs.
He's on actual crack for things.
Yeah, he's out of his mind.
Yeah,
he's out of his fucking mind.
I could understand the last year's one a little more because it really is.
Oh, definitely, it was close. It was a tight race. I don't think he deserved it, but it was a tight race.
Yeah, and Amari and Dwayne Wade both had incredible years, so it's not like it would have made sense to kind of pick one of the two. In this, because like Amari was averaging 25 points a game, and so was Wade. Yeah. So that was actually the first time I've ever seen an MVP win with their second guy averaging 25. I think that was the first time I've ever seen that.
It doesn't happen very often at all. It's definitely the exception.
And that's how you know it's just fake. Like it's not supposed to happen. And then here, we clearly see pure robbery because the best player in the league didn't win MVP this year.
Yeah, you're right. LeBron got fucking screwed.
You're on actual crap. If you think
so. Shaq says, I know you would have to put Nash up there, said O'Neal, talking about the MVP race in February, right? Yeah. I know you would have to put Nash up there, said Shaq, who was disappointed to be second in the voting to Nash last season. I don't know what you people have been voting on the last couple of years, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Bitter old fuck. Fucking so bitter. But yeah, he talks about, Shaq has said repeatedly, Nash has 2, I have 1, Kobe has 1. something's wrong with that picture.
That's a fact.
And
they're gonna say that about Joker too in the future. It's gonna be a lot of that.
Yeah. Yes. Sure. I have no fucking idea. It's a crime that. Never mind. Don't get me going. Fucking that fucking bullshit. But yeah,
if you want to get Russell going, it's the same way as like what I do with Kobe. It's just
just say to me that Joker is the deserving MVP of this year. And
this year, because this is 2022 when Joker wins his MVP. Maybe he wins more in the future. Hopefully not. But because of Joker winning in 2022, we should go all the way back in history and say Kobe's 06 MVP is now there. Like, is a thing.
Now Kobe's.
Yeah, because that was.
But no, Shaq's barely cracking the top 15 in any of these statistical categories. Let's talk about his free throw attempts. He's not almost out of the top 10 in free throw attempts, which is his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Right. Field goal percentage outside of the top 10. But there are a lot of guys who haven't played that well. So he'd be in the top 10 for this.
Yeah.
But
there's only one other guy.
There's no way he deserved to win MVP this year, and these motherfuckers are on crack.
Yeah.
Did he even make the All-NBA? I don't think he's eligible. Are
you serious?
Because I think you got to play 60 games.
That's weird. No, I don't think so. I feel like he has to be.
Oh no, there he is, first team, but he has the least amount of first place votes by a mile, by more than half.
Yeah.
He only got 63% of the share. Just goes to show you where the center position is at.
Yeah.
Crazy. Still managed to be a first team center with 29 and under 2 blocks a game. Crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's wild.
Well, Ben Wallace would have been the
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. It's
2 blocks and 2 steals.
It's insane to me. Like the
did he win Defensive Player of the Year that year? Yeah.
Who? Ben Wallace?
Yeah.
I think it was Ron. No, it's not Ron Artest this year. That's 2 years ago.
2 blocks and 2 steals.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, Ben Wallace. This is one of his 4, I think.
Yeah.
But looking at heading into the postseason, I got to imagine people are feeling, and we'll talk about this, but like people are got to be on the fence about what
Yeah, Miami doesn't look like
they're
the
going
same
to get
team
from
as last year. I don't think people are looking at Miami as that like possibly winning the championship this year. Like how they were looking at them last year.
They've just been so inconsistent.
Yeah.
Like they're lucky that they're in the Eastern Conference. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because they get a lot of fairly easy wins as opposed to the West.
Yeah. Nash even won why did Dirk not win it?
MVP? I don't know.
Like that's weird to me. Like
it should be Duncan.
So weird that
it should be.
No, because they both him and they split because of Tony Parker and Duncan. They both pretty much put similar.
I feel like Duncan, and when we do his legacy breakdown, we can talk about this. But I feel like Duncan, if he was doing the same things today, would get even somehow more credit. I think he would definitely get more credit because people would look at it with more context, where it's like, yeah, Tim Duncan might not be putting up bigger numbers than the guy next to him, but like he is the most like when it matters performer there is, and the guy that they never lose. They never lose. It's 50 wins or more every single season of Duncan's career.
Yeah,
it's like it's ridiculous.
This is a weird season for Duncan, though. Like, definitely, like it looks like a drop off season compared to. That's another thing that could, kind of skew. Like it's hard to give someone an MVP when you feel like that they dropped off.
Yeah,
like when you're used to seeing 25 and 11 or something like that, and then you see 19 and 11. Like it's hard to say you're MVP this year when they feel like you've been better in the past.
Yeah, Yeah, I could see. I get your point. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But if you're going to give it to Steve Nash, I guess it's not. You can still have an 18.
No, I know. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. I just feel like that's with Steve Nash being the current MVP and like.
But another thing is
that makes the case for
50,
Duncan,
40, 90 too.
But it's fine. If we're going to be here another 20 minutes talking about.
No, I was just going to say Steve Nash doing 50, 40, 90 is another thing. Like, not many people at this point in NBA history that I think it's only Larry Bird, really, right? That's
Reggie,
50, 40,
Reggie,
90.
Larry.
It's a handful.
I think that's it. There might be a Del Curry season in there, but I think that's it.
I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world that Steve Nash. I mean, it is the worst thing in the world because Kobe deserved it. But like Kobe or LeBron deserved this way more than like it's crazy that Nash won this MVP. I don't know. All right, we're good. All right.
Let's do the playoffs. Going to the point of the Miami Heat being kind of underrated going into the playoffs. New York Times says Shaquille O'Neal, an earthling after all, has been inconsistent this season, but no one is as dominating. He and Dwayne Wade make the best tandem in the league, even if the rest of the Heat never quite clicked this season because of personalities and injuries. So the Heat are kind of looking, going into this first series against the Bulls, who have won 12 of their last 14 games going into this series. I feel like if I was gambling, I would have taken the Bulls, or I would feel comfortable putting $20 on the Bulls to win this series, given the data beforehand. So Miami is 2-1.
No way in hell you.
Well, hold on, hear me out. This is a fair. I could feel it. So hold on, hear me out. 2-1 against the Bulls in the regular season, but these two wins are very close, and the one loss is a giant blowout. Right? That's point one. Point two, Wade has completely sucked against the Bulls in this series, or in the regular season. Like, awful shooting percentages, 24% through 3 games, only 12 points a game. Shaq, because I wanted to check him, Shaq did have a 30-point game in 27 minutes, which is badass. But other than that, overall 19 points per game average, nothing crazy. I just think there's a very slim margin for error if you're looking at it before the series begins. And I think I would have looked at it like, ooh, maybe this is a sneaky upset. This Bulls team's white hot. You know what I mean? Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
So, because my thing, Miami's the second seed in the East?
I'll double check.
They ain't no. Me knowing Russell, he's not. First, you're not gonna pick. You're not gonna go against Dwayne Wade and Shaq versus this Bulls team, and then you also aren't gonna pick the 7th seed over the 2 seed.
So I did do that this season when I thought the Celtics were gonna lose to the Brooklyn Nets with Kevin Durant. So I have done that. There's a history. I've done it before. I put money on a 7th seed to be the 2 seed, but
that's because you didn't believe in like Boston at all.
But this is what I'm saying. There's a lot of suspect shit going into this season, or going into this postseason, about this Heat team, how it hasn't come together. And there's enough data, like I just showed, to show that the Bulls they compete against the Heat pretty well. So like, there's no way I would have said, oh, Miami definitely winning this series. Like there's a chance the Bulls, because they would definitely be underdogs. So like, I don't know. It'd just be interesting.
I would have probably assumed a longer series, but I just wouldn't. I don't think I would have ever thought that this Bulls team would have beat the Miami team.
If I knew what Shaq was going to be in this series, it would be impossible to say that. Because even in this first game, right, getting into the actual series, in game 1, Miami's going to win 111-106, but Shaq is going to return to Shaq form. Because last year, Shaq, as we talked about, was playing through this big leg injury, and he never really got to have signature games that he was known for over the last half decade.
Yeah.
Right? First game against the Bulls, 27-16. 11 of 16 from the field, 5 of 8 from the free throw line, 5 blocks.
Yeah, he had a couple good block games, I feel like, in this postseason.
Oh, yeah. He This is like his last hurrah as a superstar, in my opinion. Like, where we're going to see a few games here, especially in this Bulls series particularly, where we see the old Shaq.
Yeah.
And Wade also 30-11, still playing the point guard. 30-11, right? Or the ball distributor. I guess he's playing 2 guard because Jason Williams also started. But 14 of 16 from the free throw line. I'll probably bring up the free throw numbers a lot as we keep going forward. And there's a reason for that.
Mark Cuban is his granddad. So
yes, I'm sure Mark Cuban has done his own legacy breakdown of this entire shit after looking into it. But going into game 2, right? Miami, another within 10 points game. So like I was saying, they're being competitive. They're playing really competitive with Miami. The Bulls are.
Yeah.
Close loss again. Wow, Andreas Nocioni. Holy shit! I haven't thought about that guy probably in 15 years.
Yeah.
So I think he was a high draft pick, if my mind serves me correct.
8-year career. Damn, boy.
Yeah, he was here a while. I feel like he was drafted high, but I can't. He played in pro leagues. He had an okay career, but seeing him at 30, I was like, wow. I haven't even thought about that man in a long time. So this game is about a full team performance. Look at this. 6 guys in double figures. Everybody fucking smashes. As a team, 52% shooting. And Wade is going to be the hero at the end of this game.
Yeah. They almost had 7 guys, and they only had an 8-man rotation. That's insane.
So to close this game out, Wade is just going to be friggin' awesome. And I have the highlights up for us because this is some Jordan-esque shit that goes down.
So I have a question for you because when I read it in the notes, I was just like, all right, I got to ask him this. Is it Jordan-esque like because of their play style, or is it just because he was bald in this game? I had it as like, I mean, if we're just talking about a bald guy, a shooting guard, then sure. But I didn't think they played similar, so that's why I was.
No, look at this. He comes in, right after the timeout. Boom, blocks Kirk Heinrich, right?
Yeah.
Playing defense, being all over the place, Jordan style. Then back on the other end, pull up, mid-range, cash, savagery, right? Like, this is what Jordan would have done. Fucking comes over, another one, bang bang. Never mind, he missed it.
When I looked at the highlights too, I was confused. I was like, why are they putting stuff that he didn't do well in? Like that's not
just to fuck me up. Right here. But nice spin layup.
Well, there's a couple things that he's there. Not like I was just confused on why they did that. I'm like, this is highlights.
I don't need to see the lowlights. Fuck all that. Exactly. Trying to hype this man up, trying to cut a promo for him, right?
Yeah.
So last minute of the game, fucking another block.
Yeah, that block.
The fuck out of here. Just dominating on both sides of the court. He's doing everything.
And he's
really coming into his own, and he's making this team.
Like, in this series, he was on bullshit with those blocks. Like he was swatting those blocks and then like staring at people and stuff. It was pretty.
What did he average for the series for blocks? He's gonna have 2 in this game, right? Yeah, 2 in this game. What's he gonna average for the series?
Pretty sure for the season,
it's got to be over 1. I know he's the 3rd guard ever to do that. Jordan and Kobe before him.
Yeah,
1.3 for the series, 2 steals, 25 a game, shooting 44%. So, and 7 assists. Being everywhere. Not super efficient, but definitely being everywhere.
But I think that was efficient at that time, though.
Yes, and the most important thing is he's 90% from the line, 43 for 48 for the series. Doing his business from the free throw line.
So he was averaging 6 free throw attempts a game in this series. Oh, sorry, 8 free throw attempts a game in this series.
Yes.
Okay, I thought you were doing the math for a second.
No. I was what do you call it? I was looking through the notes because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss any quotes. But yeah, so 8 free throws a game. That's good for from a foul standpoint. He's constantly getting there, and he's being efficient from the line, which is huge. All right.
So Shaq goes on to have one of his, arguably his second worst playoff game ever at this point.
That's what I thought we were up to. Is game 3 here. So.
For the
right. It's his lowest points. It's his lowest points ever, right?
His second lowest points. The first was 7 points. Is 1 point higher than that one.
Oh yeah, because against Houston, his last Laker year, he had 7 points. But 8 points, 4 rebounds, and Chicago destroys Miami at home. Yeah, goddamn. He got benched. So, I don't think he even played in the fourth quarter.
So not to completely shit on Shaq here,
because I don't. Foul trouble also for games?
That's what I was gonna say. He was in foul trouble, and that threw off his rhythm. I feel like, and then after he was in foul trouble and he was out for a significant part of the first half, they already started going on their little run. So I feel like it's not 100% just Shaq having a shitty game. You know what I mean?
And to your point, Shaq of course is using that because he says it took us out of our offense because I didn't play that much. Right there, boom.
Yeah, which is true though, but that's 100% true though. It's
crazy though because it's something that's happened his whole career too. Is the fouls? Yeah. The hardest player to officiate ever, I would say.
Yeah, because it's you're gonna call a foul on anything he does, really, because he's 7 foot. He's a freaking bear on the court, and then anything someone else does to him, you're not calling. So I could completely see why he had a bad game.
25 personal fouls for the whole series over 6 games. Is that over 4 per game?
Yeah. Well, no, that is for over 4 a game.
Something like that. I know it's not 5, obviously.
But getting 20 and 11, what is it? 20 and 11 on 31 minutes played. That's pretty damn good.
Who? Shaq?
Shaq. That's what.
For 30 minutes for the series. Yeah.
Yeah. He averaged 31 minutes a game, and he gave you 20 and 11, 20 and 10, something like that.
Well, he's bolstered by some of the old school Shaq games. And especially game 6 for sure, but so Chicago's going to tie the series in game 4, 93-87. So both teams took care of what they were supposed to do at home. And this is to my point, it doesn't shock me that this happened considering the Bulls were hot and the Heat are still kind of coming into their own, right? Yeah. And during this Bulls, while the Bulls are at home, the Heat on their bench are going to get into a fucking fight, between Gary Payton. It is in game 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gary Payton and Wade are shouting at each other late in the first half.
11 turnovers.
Chicago would tie the series at 2, while Miami was showing signs of a meltdown.
During this time, I want to show you this, guys. This is a Miami team that is on the edge of unraveling. Gary Payton and Dwayne Wade having words, and Riley will step in there.
All the naysayers were chiming in and jumping in because all year long from the beginning they said it wouldn't work. The chemistry wouldn't work. And the Chicago series is a classic example of that.
This is a team with championship aspirations, and they are clearly on edge here today.
We were kind of venting emotions again and getting it all out there and trying to call each other out.
Some teams might have been torn apart, but for the Heat, adversity would only bring them closer.
Incidents like that happen when you're a team, when you're a family. You got to be able to talk to each other. You got to be able to take constructive criticism from your team.
All of a sudden, people said, okay, they're bickering and we had words. We were getting it off our chest to say, hey, come on, I'm with you.
Yeah. I'll have that on the screen.
It's right before halftime, which I thought was pretty crazy. Like when you looking at this as a fan and watching, this is game 4, this is the second seed. They're literally arguing with each other while losing to the 7th seed. Yeah. You would never think this team is about to win an NBA championship. Like,
this is what I'm saying.
This is literally, you look at this and you're like, oh, this team is they're done. Like, whether it's gonna be like maybe not this series, but you just know this team isn't going far. Like, that's what you think as a fan at that time. And if you, especially as a gambler. Yeah, especially as a gambler, you're not betting on this team to win a championship.
No, yeah, definitely not. And that's the perception on them. Like, that's all the criticism they're getting in the moment is what we're talking about. It's kind of like when you're looking at fighting. There's old fighters with big names. They in Vegas, they always give that more recognized fighter different odds than they would give anybody else, because he's got a big name and he could knock somebody out at any moment. But the younger team in their prime or closer to their prime, it has usually the better chance in these situations. And this team is perceived as a bunch of old guys surrounded by Dwayne Wade, like being thrown in a desperate attempt for a championship.
Yeah.
And that's definitely how it feels right now.
Yeah. And I think it's this team, like, really, like, you really see it, because it's not like it's mentioned a little bit, like Shaq was the second guy in this, and some people who don't even know about the history of Shaq kind of even argue that he wasn't. But, like, especially from this point on in the series, when they argue to the rest of the playoffs, I think it shows Dwayne Wade's leadership. Like, him being able to take that from Gary Payton and, like, go back at him and then squash it and then move forward and be a great teammate. I think that's huge. That was huge for, like, because Gary Payton is definitely the guy that he could take that. Like, he could go at you, 100%, and you don't, like, you could say whatever the hell you want to him, and he's gonna take that. But, like, it's hard for a young leader to be able to take that from Gary Payton and be okay with it moving forward.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And to your point, in the next game, right? All I could think of when I was reading the news articles and watching some of the stuff on this game 5, I thought of Paul Pierce taking a shit in his pants and coming back, because it was similar, like, except if Paul Pierce shitting his pants was like a real injury instead of just a brown stain.
And especially with Pierce, like, in the freaking wheelchair and everything, like, looking so, like, defeated. And then he comes back running. Like, it was horrible, because, like, I think I knew for, like, when you wrote that, and I looked at the injury and I'm like, it doesn't look exactly like Paul Pierce's thing. And when he ran back, I was like, they had to have given him something. And I read the quotes, and Dwayne Wade was like, yeah, they gave me a little ass injection. Pretty much good. And I was like, I knew it.
I knew it had to be something. Had to be something.
I was like, there's no way he walked, because it looked like he popped his freaking hamstring or something.
So he's gonna run into Mike Sweetney with about 2:45 left in the first half. Wade and Sweetney made contact, and the Heat guard tumbled down to the court, remaining down in obvious pain. He rolled over and grabbed his left hamstring. So it was an upper leg injury, right?
Yeah.
And they diagnosed it as a bruised left hip. But to your point, Wade said, quote, a little shot in the butt, Wade said, describing the pain-killing shot he took. It started kicking in after a couple of minutes out there, and I felt good after that. So much like Paul Pierce comes back and plays well, Wade comes back and plays really well for Miami.
He scores, what, 15 of the last 15 points or something like that?
Yeah. Is that all in the fourth quarter? Or is this... No, I think some of that's in the third.
No, I think most of it's in the first. It's all in the second half for sure, but...
Yeah. So, 9 points in the fourth quarter. Perfect from every area of the court.
Yeah.
And he's just, he is really coming, like, he was definitely on the map last year. But, boy, this year he's proving himself to be top 5. Like, no doubt about it. Top 5 in the league for Dwayne Wade. Like, they do not get to where they're inevitably going to get to without him. There's no getting around it. Maybe they get there without Shaq. Shaq comes through in huge moments, as we're going to see. And there's an argument that could be made that maybe they get there without Shaq. But there is no chance, none, that they get there without Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, for sure.
Because he's 100%. Having said that, they don't get out of this series without Shaq because...
yeah, because so Wade was hurt, right? And Shaq had to do so much more in this game.
So, obviously, that little shot in the butt wears off after a little bit.
Yeah.
And, Wade only plays 37 minutes here. But Shaq, with his last truly fantastic game, definitely the last 30-20 game of his career, to close out the Bulls. And how many fouls does he have? He still has 3 fouls in this game, but it's obviously less than where he's been at. 30 points, 20 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks. 13 of 24 from the field.
Yeah.
Awesome. Just awesome.
Wade still gave you a nice 23.
So, speaking of Wade.
Efficiently, too.
Speaking of Wade, he said of Shaq, that's the Diesel we love to see. The NBA loves to see. He's right. Like, people were waiting for Shaq. This is the Shaq that they paid the money for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially that much money.
Yeah. Then there's only so many guys in the NBA, especially at this point where the center is beginning to become an extinct species that can give you a 30 and 20 game and dominate the floor and lead to winning basketball like this.
Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of the news reports from the playoffs were saying Shaq's, like, they have such a hard time they have so much trouble with Shaq in the officiating category because he's so much bigger than everybody else. And it's like, because you have so much shitty centers that can't really guard him. Like
Tyson Chandler, who's the Bulls center at this point, young man Tyson Chandler, said Shaq was definitely aggressive out there. He kind of took the game in his hand. That's as lively as I've seen him this whole series. Chandler said he played like Shaq tonight. Like, they felt it. And he was getting those boys in foul trouble early. Just really looking like Lakers Shaq. The Lakers Shaq that we've covered over this last 5 episodes. And I was happy for him.
Yeah.
I was happy to see this. I was really happy for him. Like, I felt proud. I was like, good for this guy. Like, fucking just playing like shit. Not being able to come to grips with his own mortality.
Yeah.
So, like, good for him to, like, actually get through this and be a real big factor as to what propels this team forward, right?
Yeah, for sure. But it definitely is Wade still needed, like, Shaq in this process. Like, it's not, I don't think Wade could have done this on his own. And I think Shaq's leadership still came through in a lot of the tough times that they had throughout each series.
That's definitely true. And I know I said that earlier, and I was like, I just think it's like when we look back at the Lakers championships, like, Shaq was the alpha. And he's definitely not that for this team. But I do agree that his experience, more than anything else, comes in handy this year, like, a lot.
And he knows that he's not the alpha. He literally deferred from Jump Street, which still frustrates the fuck out of me. But
that's what I was going to say.
Every time I see
we
quotes,
talked about earlier, it's, during the summer of 2004, like, he would never become this guy in Los Angeles. I don't think he ever would have had the chance to become this guy in LA because his brain always would have been like, I'm the guy, Kobe's my little brother, and that's it. Like, when he got traded to Miami, in a lot of ways, it humbled him to a certain extent. And not being able, that 04-05 season, I think, really humbled him. and not being able to get to his Shaq level.
Yeah. Seeing all the
during that playoff run. Yeah. I think it finally got to him. Like,
because I'm sure before he was like, it's flukes. I got injured, whatever. And now he's just seeing he's consistently getting injured.
Yeah. And let's see.
And he probably did work. We know, he worked out and was in better shape than previous when going into that 04-05 season, and him still getting injured. I think that's what kind of probably helped trigger his brain. Like, I really gotta be able to defer a little.
And even to the point of power versus finesse, right?
Yeah.
He says after Game 6, I knew coming into the game that I was going to my finesse game, said Shaq, who was 13 of 24 from the field. I wasn't trying to use the power because I was going to my jump hooks, turnarounds, and fadeaways. I came in with the mindset that I was going to stay out of foul trouble, don't help, don't commit silly fouls. So it's like he's trying to think out the game more than he was previously.
Yeah.
And all this experience that he's accrued over the last, decade and a half almost.
Yeah.
Is all it's funny. He's finally not working harder. He's working smarter.
Yeah.
Which is the only reason he's really able to continue to be productive into this later stage of his career, considering his injuries and all the other shit.
Yeah.
They knew what I wanted to do tonight. They knew I wasn't going to be in foul trouble. I wanted to close these guys out. No one can really bang with Shaq, Dwayne Wade said. You have to create somebody. I mean, the guy is the eighth wonder of the world. It's also people have learned about Shaq at this point that if you suck his dick, he plays better. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
If you pet the doggy, the doggy is very happy afterwards. You call him a good boy. It means a lot to him. It means a lot to him. The big dog, Big Diesel. Okay, so Nets are the next team in the semifinals. This is a team that's been in the Eastern Conference playoff contention, in that mix.
Yeah.
Basically since the Lakers beat.
Since 02.
Yeah, since, right? I thought that was 02. I was going to say 01. I think you're right. It's 02.
It's 02.
And one thing I know for sure about Shaq and New Jersey is that going into this series, Shaq is undefeated against the Nets in the playoffs. Undefeated. They swept them in the 02 finals, and they swept them last year when he went to Miami.
Yeah.
And he's like the Nets boogeyman.
Yes. He puts penis
speaking of, or as I was saying, the Nets have never beaten Shaq until this game 1.
Yeah.
The Nets come in, smack him in the mouth on Miami's floor in game 1. Vince Carter, 27 points, 15 of 19 from the free throw line. So Shaq's just beating the fuck out of him, I would imagine. How many fouls does Shaq have? 5, yeah. So it's absolutely what it is Shaq, because as we know Shaq's attitude, if he comes in the paint more than once, I'm going to hit him hard. And I'm pretty sure that's what was going down.
Yeah.
Shaq, 20 and 10, though, in his 29 minutes. If he stays out of foul trouble, he's got, to your point, this is very much to your point. If he stays out of foul trouble, there's way more of a chance for him to have even been more dominant in this playoff run.
Yeah. Go back
which is interesting historically.
He would probably be, doing what he's been doing, giving you at least 25 and 10 or something like that. But
yeah.
I was going to say, this Nets team is really interesting because when you think about it, you got Jason Kidd running the point, and then you got Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson in the fast break with them. Like that, I'm sure it was a very entertaining team. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. This was the first time that I, as a human being, paid attention to the Nets is when they got Vince Carter. When Vince Carter just epically burned the bridge in Toronto.
Yeah.
And just played terribly, and then magically when he got to Jersey, he was Vince Carter again. Like he took Michael's secret stuff.
Yeah,
fucking hilarious.
But so I'm losing this game. Shaq chooses to not talk to the media, which is going to be a consistent theme with him throughout this playoff run. And I think it's like complete bullshit. Like every time after losses, he literally is just like, I'm not talking to you guys.
He does it, and this has been his MO over the last few seasons. Like, especially towards the end of the Laker run, he was absolutely doing that. Him and Kobe were doing it. Like, and it always came from, it's really funny. Like, as Shaq gets older, like, he starts to shed the petulant side of him. But then things like this happen, and you're like, there he is. There's the guy I remember. That's the little bitch that I was talking about from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like, it happens consistently. It's funny.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, it was no need to bring up this Shaq's legacy breakdown. Like,
now it's Shaq's legacy breakdown.
This is the Miami Heat season, and we over here you had to bring up Kobe for no reason. Like, it was unnecessary.
That's what I'm here for. Somebody's got to do it, right?
For what? Like, we were talking, this is 06. Kobe's not even, Kobe's the most relevant player in the league.
Thanks to you.
Kobe's the most relevant player in the league right now. At this point, he's over here.
We have to keep up our random, irrelevant Kobe references, so I thought I would add to the streak. Yeah, we're good.
Get out of here.
But this will be the only time that the Nets will ever beat Shaq in the playoffs, because
how do you know after they don't do that in the future?
Because I looked it up. That's why. Because I did my fucking research. That's why. No, I'm just what do you call it? No, because I wanted to know, because I realized there was a trend during this year, and I was like, man, he really beats the piss out of them. What is the record? And it turns out really good.
He's only lost one game ever.
One game ever to New Jersey. All time. But let's see. So we're game 2, right? So game 2, 111-89. Miami comes back, stomps them out. The Heat,
I don't like
after
how
the
the
first
headline
quarter,
says combined 52 points. Like
41-19 to the Nets in the first quarter. They beat them out early.
That's crazy.
But yeah, Shaq and Wade, 21 for O'Neal, 31 for Wade. So yeah, combined for 52.
Yeah, I know, but it just makes it seem like there was so much more hope there.
I know.
Like it's like Wade.
Hey, how many fouls did Shaq have? 2.
Like,
he was there.
Like,
I don't know how he still ends up playing 28 minutes. I don't know how that happens.
Well, it's because they blew him out, didn't they?
Oh, so wait. So yeah, so in game 1, so let's see. By the time he scored 14 points in the fourth quarter, the game was out of reach. So let's go to Shaq's. Is that true? Did he have 14 points in the fourth quarter? Garbage time points to get his ego up? Let's see. No, he only had 2. Fucking
no.
But yeah, I do think that he was out of. I do think the game was out of reach by the time.
Yeah, he only played 2 minutes in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Last thing about game 2. Wade and Shaq might have been motivated by a meeting they had late Tuesday night. They said they had met at the Heat's practice facility, shot baskets, and chatted for about an hour. We talked about how a situation like this happens, Shaq said. The definition of home court advantage is you have to win all your games at home. A definition of a championship team is a team that can win anyway and at any time. So they're bonding even further. Gelling as we get into the playoffs, trying to build that chemistry, right?
Yeah.
So, game 3, Heat win again, 103-92. Wade with another 30-point game. What does he average for the series? He's going to average 27, 6, and 6 with 2.5 steals. Shooting 49%. Damn. Golly.
67 from 3. Only took 9, though.
Yeah, that's why I didn't mention it. I was like, I thought about mentioning it, and then I was like, it's not. He only took 9 of them. It doesn't matter. Shaq, 19 points, 7 rebounds, and that's basically it for Shaq. 57% shooting. Yeah. Much more quiet series. Wade putting the team on his back, as we'll see throughout. Right? Game 4 is probably going to be the Nets. Game 5 is going to be closer, but I think this Game 4, the Nets are probably kicking themselves about because Jason Kidd's going to have a 17, 13, and 12 triple-double. They're going to have 4 players in double figures. Yeah. And it's still not enough because they can't make any of their threes. They went 4 of 20 from 3, did the Nets. 43% shooting. So he are playing lockdown defense. And like I said, starting to gain more and more team chemistry. Wade 31, 7, and 8, 2 steals. Wow.
Yeah. So I can't remember who said this quote, but they said, I think it's Collins. He says, our game plan is to let Shaq go for his and try to control the other guys. And I'm like,
definitely doesn't seem that way.
Yeah. And I'm like, why? If that was the case, I think he'd be winning the series because I think at this point in Shaq's career, if you make him be the guy that has to beat you, I think that you win the series that way.
I think the quote you're looking at, okay, so this is between games 4 and 5. Jason Collins says, we need to do a better job of making Shaq beat us, Collins said, adding that he wanted to basically go one-on-one and say, Shaq, go to work. So I think what's happening is they keep collapsing on Shaq, and he keeps kicking it out and finding either open shooters or Wade who can collapse on a different way to get to the basket.
Yeah.
And they're almost over-respecting Shaq because of his insane history against this team. Because he's their boogeyman. They're like, we have to stop Shaq. If we don't stop Shaq, he's going to eat us alive. He loves playing here in New Jersey. We need to shut him down. And in reality, the others, Wade and the others, just took it over.
And it just doesn't make sense because if you we're logical, you can see Shaq's not the same guy, so make him beat you.
That's true. I just think the fear is still there, especially after that 30 and 20 game. I think people are just afraid. He put fear back into the hearts of.
But the whole point is he can't do that consistently anymore.
I agree with you, but I think one thing that we're learning, and I think it's fair to say that. So here we go. Here we go. So a superstar who is not dominating, it is often assumed, is an unhappy player. But Shaq, who is 34 and has been slowed by injuries in recent years, may be happier than anyone else to see his teammates carrying much of the load. I'm just playing a smart game, Shaq said Sunday. I'm getting it, and I'm trying to keep everybody involved. It's an easier game for me when everybody is involved.
But I don't believe that, though.
You don't believe him at this point in his career? I believe him at this point in his career.
I feel like if this same thing happens, and the reason I feel this way is because he just did it the year before. When everybody does get involved, but they still lose, he says, I should have got the ball more.
Yeah, true.
That's what he did with his previous goal. It's just because it's working right now. I don't believe
that's fair, and that's further to my point of he's trying to shed that layer of petulance.
But it's because he's winning, though. It doesn't.
At least he's trying. 16 points on 13 shots. Maybe he is, but it's all I think the reason why I even said that quote is I think there's a crossroads here. There are people who believe, he's slowed down. He's, his injuries have slowed him down, like I was just reading. And then there's another section of people that are like, this guy's still Shaq. He's still the most dominant big in our league. And I think that happens for 2 reasons. Number one, he flashes the old Shaq. Number one. And number 2, the big man drought, which is really going to take hold the further we go in his legacy breakdown. And in my opinion, ultimately the reason he stays in the league is because there's nobody at the center position that can do what Shaq does, even at an advanced age. And I think that fucks with people's brains because you're like, oh yeah, Shaq's not the same guy, but he's still the most dominant player in the world. Like, it's a weird, I think people are skeptical at this point, when in reality, we can see it in hindsight, he's not the same guy at all. Like, from a statistical standpoint, from just like things that he's saying to the media standpoint, like, he's not the same, he's just not the same guy. Like, and you could be right. That could be because he's winning. Like, that's a fair point. That's definitely fair.
Yeah, I feel like it's like what they do to every superstar though. They always, like, when it gets to that point where they're not the same guy anymore, they still say, well, he's Shaquille O'Neal. He's like Kareem. Everybody felt like Kareem was the best player in the world for way longer than he was. Because he was, like, I would say probably after like 83, like, Kareem wasn't the best player in the world anymore. Like, and you could probably argue even before that. So, but people were saying that for a very long time. Like, even when he was 87, when he was not like they were still like making it seem like it was difficult for them to grasp that Magic Johnson was taking the keys to the kingdom now. Like, which is insane that you would think that it would be hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Magic Johnson was Magic fucking Johnson.
Yeah, he's Magic fucking Johnson. Yeah, I get it.
But I think, and I feel like that's the same case with D Wade, and like, people don't truly believe that D Wade is the best player on this team. Like, at this point,
they're on the fence about it. Yeah, I get it.
Shaq's over here saying this is our guy, but every single article that we talk about talks about Shaq's dominance and Shaq's leadership and Shaq being. It's like Shaq's the guy that everybody like is looking at that way rather than Wade.
And it's funny because it's similar. We've seen this dance before, right? At the end of the Laker run, it was happening with Kobe, for sure. Yeah. Like, Kobe was definitely the more talented player on the team after the 3 championships. Like, but it wasn't going to get shown that way. I think so. It wasn't going to get shown that way because of everything you just described that's going on here. Like, same exact reasons.
Yeah.
And that's
the only reason I did that face was I just think in 2002, I think Kobe was that's where it started, but that's just my opinion.
Maybe it did, but Shaq still got the Finals MVP that year. So
yes,
I gotta.
If there was a Magic Johnson award, Kobe would have got that many times. just so y'all know, like,
that's a video. That's a video we need to do at some point. Is go back and do like 5 years at a time. Go through each of the 5 years and be like, who was the, what do you call it? The
Magic
the
Johnson,
conference whatever MVP, conference
Bird,
Finals MVP.
Yeah.
See who has the most. Like, that'd probably be fun. That would be fun as fuck. But going to Game 5, very close game, 105-106, and it's going to end on a D Wade steal. Of an inbound pass to close it out. Yeah, very clutch.
Yeah.
Very clutch. Super cool.
It was such a Wade thing to do, too. Like, I feel like he had done similar things like that. Well, I don't know. He's done similar things like that in his career, like the steal and then making the 3. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Like,
oh,
like
yeah.
That. Yeah. It just reminds me of one of those moments.
Vince Carter, 33 points, 1 of 7 from 3. Yikes. Also,
my man goes 12.
Richard Jefferson.
My man goes 13 for 25. Like, he had a good game. Like, it wasn't a bad game for Vince Carter.
Yeah, but why are you shooting 13 of 20? Does that mean all his missed shots are threes?
A majority of them, yeah. Like,
why are you not shooting mid-range shots then? Stop shooting 7 threes, you fuck. It's not like the game was he trying to shoot his team back into the game? No, they were up to start this game. Like, and then it was close for the rest of the game. Why are you shooting all these threes? Stop it. 1 of 5 in the first quarter. Stop it.
Yeah, so that means he missed.
Basket.
That means in the first quarter he shot bad, and then moving forward he shot 3 other threes for the rest of the game. That means he listened to what you were saying.
Yeah, Jesus.
Or no,
Christ.
2 other threes. Sorry, 2 other threes for the rest of the game. So that means he listened to what you were saying.
Richard Jefferson, 33 points, but 24 in the second half.
Yeah.
Richard Jefferson, my opinion, should replace Charles Barkley on TNT when the time comes. Might be a hot take, but I think it's a good one. Richard Jefferson's fucking hilarious, and he doesn't give a fuck. And I think he's perfect for TNT. Jefferson. He needs to leave ESPN. Boycott ESPN. Shaq, 17 points, 3 rebounds. Yikes. 25 minutes played, 1 of 7 from the free throw line. Not a great game. Probably why it was close in general.
What is this like? It was the entire quarter.
Wade, 21 points on 19 shots. Kind of an ugly, this kind of era, low pace game.
Yeah, it was a close game. It was a tight game.
What was the pace?
How many free throws? How many free throws did Wade have in this series?
Good question.
He had 68 in the last series.
This series,
something like that.
I want to say
48 in the last series. Sorry.
Yeah, I want to say he had 50 here, but I'm not positive. 53.
53. Okay, so it's going up slightly. It's a little bit more than 8 free throws a game. No, sorry. No, that's 10 free throws a game.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Here, we can get it.
Because I thought that was 6. It was a 6-game series.
I would like to look at his free throws for the.
That's insane. But that kind of goes against the whole Rick thing. I mean, I know we're going to talk about it a little later, but if he's been that means he's just been aggressive. And plus, he did that. He always did that stupid pump fake and then freaking jump into the player and get the free throw shots.
Yeah, that.
I always hated
that shot.
Because
that shot defines. I don't actually. I think that should still be a thing. And it's crazy to me that it's not.
To me, it's not real basketball, though.
How could you say that? Your favorite player ever dominated with that move. Dominated. He's the first. Yeah, with the pump fake, make it. Like him and Wade are the only 2 guys I think of when I think of this era of basketball.
Kobe didn't go pump fake and then go into you like that. Like Wade literally
did a bunch. The fucking reel I'm about to play of Kobe doing that over and over again. Him
Look
and
at how
Wade
many times
specifically, because I'm not trying to tell you he did it more than Dwayne Wade. I'm not saying that, but I am saying that those 2 define that, and I think it's a move of skill. And I think if the only reason that move works for those 2 guys specifically is because they're so fucking good, you have to bite on their shots. And if you're a chump and you fall for the pump, you deserve to get the foul if you bump into him.
But you don't have to. But my whole thing is, I never understood why people did it for Wade, because he didn't have a jump shot like that. Like, why did they?
I get what you're saying. That's a fair point, but I still think it should have been outlawed the way it was outlawed.
It goes like that, and then he would always just do the stupid shit. I always got tight at that. I'm like, that's not. You look like an idiot.
So
Kobe at least made it look pretty.
Through the first 2 series, Wade is 9.2 free throw attempts a game, 84%, 26, 5 and 7, 2 steals and a block.
Fire.
Absolute fire. This is one of the best playoff runs by a guy ever. I know it's Shaq's legacy breakdown, but this is a big part of Shaq's legacy.
Yeah.
So they will make the Eastern Conference Finals once again versus the Detroit Pistons. A team that is Shaq's boogie team. Like, if Shaq's the boogeyman of New Jersey, I would be nervous if I was Shaq playing this Pistons team, because his record is god-awful.
Yeah, that's a fact, actually.
Like,
he's 3-8 against them?
Yeah, no, let's see.
Sorry, 4-8.
We can get this information. But only 23 and 8 in 15 games versus the Pistons. And he is 7 and 8.
For you guys that keep correcting him in your heads, I'm just quitting. I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not trying to show him how to round anymore. So just so you know that I'm not just...
Oh, no, I was writing. What did he fuck up?
No, he just like reads and then says like, you clearly see like 38.6 or something. He's like 38.
I'm just reading. I wasn't even planning on reading that screen. I just saw it and I was like, this is relevant. This is relevant. I'll say it. Fucking, but no, 7-8 versus.
But I think they have some of the
all time, and that includes his Magic era. But if you take away these 3 games from the Magic era, right?
Man, don't start. Come on,
he's 4-8.
Goofy as hell for that. We just wait. 4-8. I was wondering where the other 3 wins. I was like, they must be counting the 4 that they win here, but I'm like, it doesn't make sense.
No, they're counting. So, they counted 3 from the Magic.
Like because we talking about these specific Pistons, so that's why you take off 3. That makes sense. He had a hard time.
So not a great record. Kind of his kryptonite. As you can see, not a lot of great games. Even though we were talking about the 04 finals here is involved here, where he did play pretty well. But since then, not great, right? Not particularly amazing. So going into this series, if I'm Shaq, I'm like apprehensive, I think, to say the least. So the Heat will take game 1. Wade scores 25 points, but he only played 26 minutes because of foul trouble. So more foul trouble being in the way of this Heat team from really being dominant. Let's see. Shaq had 4 fouls. Wade had 4 fouls. Both of them had 5 turnovers. Kind of like a classic game you see against the Pistons. Udonis Haslem went 0 of 7.
Yeah. Like, that's exactly, like, you definitely want, the Pistons want all of this, like.
Yeah, this is what makes you nervous
against this team. Less shots taken. And, and they, like, if you look at it, they're both teams are shooting shitty as hell. Like, Pistons shot 38% as a fucking team. Like, it's horrible.
I got to figure out a way we can dive into some of these all-time great teams that don't have all-time great players on them. Like this Pistons team, because this team is, the more we look at them through this legacy breakdown, they're just really interesting to me. Like, they really made people play their style. So much so that they kind of changed the league. And it's really weird how this team with no superstar really dominated this era.
But I think it makes sense though, because like one thing we've noticed about all-time great teams is they always make you play. They control the tempo of the game.
Very true.
So and like this Pistons team is lost in the sauce a little bit because they just think, oh, it's the Pistons teams that won that one championship against the Lakers.
Yep.
But they really did. They pretty much were a threat for like 4 straight years.
Yeah, they made the Eastern Conference Finals or better for half a decade.
Yeah, exactly. So
at least 4 years, maybe 5.
Like,
but I think
it was like a bullshit dynasty. Like it didn't, like they didn't win too much or whatever, but like they definitely made noise in the league. And I think
force.
Yeah, definitely. And they're great. The thing that they were great at was making people play at their tempo and play their style of basketball, for sure.
100%. But I think the reason why it's so surprising is there's always a catalyst for that on these all-time great teams. Like Magic speeds the tempo up. Shaq slows the tempo down. Jordan, same thing, slows the tempo down. Right?
Yeah.
They're slowing the tempo down just by playing great team defense. Yeah. Like and forcing the ugliness. They're all putting an insane amount of effort on defense and sacrificing offense in a way that's historic.
Yeah.
Like, and they're still managing to be successful. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know. I feel like you could put this team in a lot of eras and they would do damage.
Yeah.
Like, outside of this 3-point shooting era.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I feel like anywhere backwards you could bring this Pistons
team. And
the
no playing defense. Awesome.
And, well, once they change the hand-checking rules, which is coming up in these years. It is happening.
Well, I think
very recently. But the refs still, even though the rules in place, the refs still got to catch up to it. So it's still human error. There's a lot less of it going into after this point. Like once they hit 07, 08, 09, like that's when it really starts to take off.
That's what like made Steve Nash go off was the handshake thing.
It definitely helped Steve Nash immensely.
Which this is his second MVP.
His second MVP, yeah.
Yeah.
But obviously, as we're seeing, defense still matters at this point in time.
For sure.
You can't deny that.
Yeah.
Pistons are still relevant. Defense still matters. Speaking of defense,
and it's a physical ass game. Like right now, like the Heat are having very physical series.
Yeah, and it's fucked up because during this time frame, the league is being criticized for being too soft in comparison to what it was previously, even right now. And it's just insane because when you look at it 15 years of hindsight, it was still pretty damn physical.
Yeah, exactly.
But Wade 32, 7-5, 8 of 8 from the line, not enough. Shaq 21-12, one of his better games. But
this game
everybody that's relevant on the Pistons is going to do work. Their starting five just did damage.
Yeah.
Nasty ass starting five. Everybody contributes. Everybody's making shots. Ben Wallace is doing his thing on defense.
Yeah.
Just crazy. So they go to Miami for game 3, and Miami basically blows them out. 98-83. Chauncey had 31 points in this game, 4 or 5 from 3. But Wade,
he was really there. He's technically their star, but
he's as close as it gets to their star. But it's really just that starting five was the best starting five in the league for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
But Wade, 35 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Shaq, 27-12. This is the dream right here.
Yeah.
This is what they want more than anything. This is the dream. Yeah. If you're Mickey Harrison and Heat front office.
This is exactly what Shaq wants. It's almost as if, he wished that it happened 3 or 4 years ago, but
Hey dude, he spoke it into existence before LeVar Ball. Fucking spoke that shit right into existence.
Oh, it was happening, boy. That's my whole point. It was happening.
So,
hating ass bitch, Shaq. Man, I'm gonna always throw shade on your bitch ass, man. That's why I'm gonna be happy as hell these next 5 years. You just losing, you piece of shit.
All night the Pistons had to choose. As dominating as O'Neal was on the night, Wade was even better. And because the twosome barely missed, they presented the Pistons with a no-win situation. That's facts. Absolutely facts.
They missed a total of 8 shots out of 32.
Crazy. It's crazy because I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think Shaq deserves credit for being a great talent scout. He found Penny Hardaway. Penny Hardaway was up in the draft, but he doesn't go to the Magic unless Shaq makes that phone call, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't come to Miami here unless Wade is balling out in the playoffs his rookie year, right? That's the biggest reason he wanted to come to Miami. And for him to have ended up with really, he wasn't the same guy in Cleveland, obviously, but to have played with Penny, Kobe, Wade, and LeBron in his career,
Shaq's
got a good eye for fucking talent.
Yeah, but it's also the thing, they're lottery picks though. So that's it goes. Sure, but he.
But you don't think he helped each and every one of them? I think he influenced each and every one of those guys.
I don't think he helped LeBron.
I think he definitely helped LeBron from a mental standpoint and gave him experience. And we're going to get to that season where we can really dive deep into that and prove that point, whether it's true or it's not. Yeah. But I think each great player that he ran into was influenced in a way that was positive for their basketball game because of Shaq. That's just, and it's crazy how he's so successful with that. In comparison to other people, he's so fucking successful with it. And it's kind of the prototype for the way he bounced around and made franchises. It's kind of the prototype of what we see today in a lot of ways. as we were talking about with him coming to LA, and now he's got traded to Miami, being successful there. He's really the first guy to bounce around like that and be successful and bring franchises up. Yeah. And I don't know. I think he deserves more credit for that than he gets.
My only thing is with that is you have like some of the highest level talent. Like the players who had similar talent did similar things. So that's all. Like you can look at other players in NBA history that had the similar talent as teammates that Shaq had, and they did probably the same or more. And that's the only argument against that.
Yes, but most of those guys are not. Usually it's the guard helping the big man in a lot of ways. Like with Kareem's case, Kareem was definitely better than Magic, right? When Magic came in, but Magic's attitude and Magic's influence helped Kareem extend his career, right? Like there's more instances of guards or facilitators moving it to centers. Shaq is a center influencing. It's going the other way around. And I just think it's interesting.
But how? I don't agree with that. I think the guards are doing the same thing for Shaq. I just think like Shaq didn't develop Kobe. I wouldn't say that.
Oh, I knew I was waiting for you to say this. I totally disagree.
Well, and I also don't think he does. Well, but to make it less biased, because everybody's gonna think I'm biased with this. Shaq didn't develop Penny. He didn't.
I see. I don't know if that's. I don't know if that's fair either.
We went through what happened. Penny was nice. Shaq, Shaq, he came in pretty much changing the thought process of how a point forward would look in the league. Like him and Grant Hill at that time were like unique to the league. By the second year, he took that next leap, and that's what made Shaq have the ability to have a championship team. From that point on, Shaq started hating on Penny's success, and that's what blew them up. At what point do you feel like that Shaq was developing Penny? I felt like when Penny started developing, Shaq started hating, and things went sour.
I definitely think that's true, but for that finals year specifically, the one that we're talking about in question, that second season, things were good for that season, like very good. And I don't think, and I could say this about all four, well, not LeBron as we were talking about, but I could say this for the three guys in question between Penny, Kobe, and Wade. Like, I don't think they become the same players as quickly as they do without Shaq. I just don't think so. If you're looking at it from an on the court standpoint, it definitely doesn't happen because Shaq has that gravitational pull, and that helps. That literally helps these guards get one-on-one coverage, which they dominate with because they're great players. Yeah. But I also just think Shaq's when Shaq's he's always been a great teammate. Like that's always been like people have loved him as a teammate. As much as I think he's a petulant baby, and I don't see it at times, him being a great teammate. People swear by the man.
He's a great teammate to people who fall in line.
Yeah,
and I think that comes from his father's military background, where you fall in line, it's fine. When you start going against what I'm saying, that's where shit hits the fan, and that's like how Shaq is. But I agree. I think these players are looked at to that magnitude because of Shaq. Because with both of them together, and I think it goes both ways too. Like because if Shaq's not making these NBA finals or making these long playoff runs, he's just looked at as a good player that doesn't get anywhere. Like
he was for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. So until he got to that 3 championship thing, that's where he started looking like the legend that he is. Like and I feel like with Penny and Kobe, even Wade, like I feel like they all would have been developed that same way in terms of like the type of players they were, but they wouldn't have been held into the same light. Like Kobe might have not won all those championships, so he's not looked at as a legendary player.
But I don't think they develop as fast without him. I don't think they develop as fast.
I don't see how he helps with that.
Because
in terms of like training and stuff like that.
Well, that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. In terms of motivation, on the court gravitational pull and generally being an encouraging teammate, which, yes, the Shaq and Kobe stuff turned bad at the end, but in the beginning, Shaq's the guy with his arm on his shoulder, encouraging him, puffing him up, bringing the confidence up. He definitely brought up Penny's confidence. Definitely brought up Penny's confidence. He definitely brought up Kobe's confidence, and he definitely is bringing up Wade's confidence here. Like, there's no doubt about it, and that's what gets these guys from good players to great players is that next level on the fucking shit confidence. Like,
I can see that.
And I don't think any of those guys, specifically Wade and Penny, because they're not wired the same way Kobe is. I think Kobe would have gotten there eventually. But I don't think it happens as fast for all three of them without Shaq
I can see that.
putting them over big time. And I think that's where I think the most is like, I think he deserves more credit than what he gets for that. Like, that's impressive. It's just impressive to me.
Yeah.
Like,
I think the part that makes it hard for people to give him that is you do it and then you fucking blow it up because you're an asshole. So that's like, you can't be like, oh, it's so great that you do this, Shaq, and then
I can't deny that.
So horrible
I can't deny
that you fuck it up too. Like, like that's the issue. It's like you can't be like, oh, I want you to be great, and then once you become too great, oh nah, we got to chill here, man. I don't want you to look like you're better than me. Like, that's the issue. That's his issue.
He takes Crash Bandicoot Nitro to the bridges that he fucking and blows that shit up. That's definitely fair. Fucking all right, let's keep going in this Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Game 4, right? Game 4. This is Wade's famous off-balance layup that he takes.
Oh man, that's literally, I wrote that down. I said, this is a classic play. You see this all the time on like commercials or like whatever NBA promos and stuff. You always see them bring up this play.
And yeah, once I remember even on TV, just people were sucking dick after.
I mean, it's amazing. Like that's some crazy.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's amazing, and
it's also like pure luck because there's no way that was like supposed to happen. Like,
okay, he should have broken his other hip. That's what should have happened on the play.
Yeah,
but yeah, I've seen. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even realize this happened during this year. I thought it happened later on in his career, honestly.
Yeah, me too. Like in 2009 or something. Because that's when he went on that crazy scoring tear and stuff in 2009. So
I didn't realize this was 2006, but considering, like, I don't know, he, as we were talking about, confidence going through the roof, becoming an all-time great player, right? Wade's going to say, I mean, I'm just a kid inside that loves to play the game of basketball, getting the opportunity to play on the highest level. And I'm just trying to do my best job of it, he said. Those guys, their names. Magic Johnson is a great player. I'm not even close to that. I've got to win a lot of championships to get there. Like, people are fucking hyping him up.
People just always do that shit too. Like you should try to put mad pressure on this young. Like,
well, that's what Shaq's doing. Sorry, but that's what he says. Shaq says, I always tell him just do his thing. Said Shaq. Get off the ball and come to me, and I'll see what I can do. He's great. He listens. He's very unselfish. He does it like Magic Johnson used to do it. Very unselfishly, but still puts up the numbers. So, like, it's Shaq building that, like we were just talking about. It's Shaq building that pressure, and it's crazy to put pressure on this kid, but he's fucking delivering. So fuck it.
Yeah,
fuck
keep
it.
on.
Keep on. Just go with it. Like, it's clearly working.
Yeah. So I did want to ask this question. I should have asked it a little bit more in the beginning of the series because
it's fine.
For that game 1, they did mention that Detroit just finished having was it a 7-game series with the Cavs, which is insane. So LeBron had a 7-game series with them this year, and then he has another 6-game series with them next year. So he went through the toughest team in the East twice and almost beat them the first time in it. That's crazy.
As we talked about in our archives, please check it out.
Yeah,
I'm begging you, check it out. I'm begging you, please go watch it.
But so
after you watch this, finish watching this.
Do you think that's kind of what holds them back in this series because they had such a tougher road in the East, like in their side of the East, on their back bracket of the East. Like this.
Yes, but this is all they know.
Yeah.
Because if we keep going back, they were part of the ugliest Eastern Conference Finals of all time. That series against the Pacers.
Yeah.
They've been in a couple of these 7-game bangers.
Yeah.
Last year's they were in a 7-game banger versus the Spurs.
And this is their 4th straight year being in this situation, right? So,
and what have we seen historically? Like even
they break down. Usually get injuries and break down. Yeah.
So that's totally a fair point. Like it's totally a fair point, and there's got to be some fatigue setting in. That's completely fair.
And fatigue makes a coward of us all.
Of us all. That's a fact. But having said that, going to Game 5, Pistons are not going to go gently into that good night.
Yeah.
That's your favorite saying?
Yeah. Well, I always like it. But I think this kind of is always what shows like the resilience of a team is that when you're down 3-1, being able to win that, at least be like, we're not losing at home is their main thing.
Shaq is going to have 19 points on 15 shots, but Ben Wallace is really the story of this game.
Oh, yeah.
Not really a big stat game for Ben Wallace, as it usually is not.
3 blocks and 2 steals is pretty good, though.
But 3 blocks and 2 steals, yes. And most importantly,
monster block.
A monster block on Shaq that I think if the Pistons go on to win this series, this is part of their championship video.
Yeah, for sure. It's one of those. This is what changed the series.
Yes.
Game. Yeah.
He blocked the shit out of him, boy. Yeah. Oh my god.
I was so mad because Shaq goes and says, "Oh, you know it's a foul. Like, don't." That was dead ass not a foul.
Don't ask dumb questions.
Yeah.
Jack, what happened on that play when Ben Wallace blocked you? How many guys in this league can do that here?
That was a foul, young lady. You know it was a foul. Don't ask dumb questions.
Yeah, that shit pissed me off because I'm like, that was the most straight up block in the world. And the part that even made it more amazing was Ben Wallace then won the tip ball, the jump ball too.
The jump ball, which we're about to see right here.
Yeah,
like he's amazing. Ben Wallace, a deserving Hall of Famer in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Like when you can't go on a run like this 5 straight, because they do the 5 straight Eastern Conference Finals, right? I think that was
I believe pretty close to it. Yeah. Let's see. So ain't no pressure on us at all. We have a golden opportunity to win Game 6 on our home floor. Dwayne Wade said, "They're the defending conference champions. There's no pressure on us." I don't know. I feel like there's pressure. I feel like there's a lot of pressure. I don't agree. I get where he's coming from, and you have to think like that, but I think there's pressure going into this Game 6.
Yeah. I think if you don't win this game, you pretty much done up. Because
you are losing in 7 because you're not winning in Detroit.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah,
I agree. And what I wrote in my notes here is Shaq with a 2013 Duncan-esque, "Let's close this bitch out because I'm old and I need the rest."
Yeah.
What a game to win the Eastern Conference Finals in 6 games. It very much reminded me of that Duncan Game 6, the Ray Allen shot game where he just goes to another level to try and close it out. Shaq 28 and 16, 5 blocks.
Yeah.
Fucking that. So this is 2 closeout games, 2 Game 6s, where Game 6 Shaq comes in the clutch.
Yeah.
And plays.
Nobody talks about Game 6 Shaq. We always talk about Clay, but
nobody. It's because Twitter's not big yet. They would have. Yeah. They would have in Twitter world, 100%. So the reason why Shaq had to go off so hard is because Dwayne Wade needed fluid injections all day because he was sick, and O'Neal infused the Miami Heat with energy and purpose that debilitated the Detroit Pistons, who could only stand and watch O'Neal take their arrow away. Hell of a sentence right there.
Yeah. That's great.
So
before we go to the next series, could we check how many free throws Wade got in this thing?
Yes, it's a good thing to keep track of.
Yeah, this matters, guys. I know you some of you who don't know enough about this season might not truly understand yet, but you'll understand shortly.
You will absolutely understand. So
that's like a little 52 over 8 as well. It's like almost 7.
So he's probably hovering around 9 a game for the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
I think that's important. So no, for sure.
Shooting 62% from the field against the Pistons. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That goes back to what you were saying with the Shaq gravitational pull thing.
Yes.
Because you don't shoot 62% against the Pistons if you don't have Shaq.
As a team, they shoot 51.5% for the series.
That's insane.
That is insane. That's
how much
like
did the Pistons
really
shoot?
fucking
I
good.
promise you they shot
under 40. Right under 40%.
I was going to say
39.7. Like
that's insane.
But
that Miami
Heat
team
makes
had defense, yeah.
That's what makes their dominant run to me underrated on a very high level and deserves to be talked about more. Is they would win fucking series shooting under 40% as a team.
Yeah.
Consistently.
Yeah, because we saw
against
that with
the
Pacers
best
series.
teams.
Yeah.
Makes no sense. Their team historically is underappreciated. Like, just super underappreciated. This era deserves to get talked about more. And
the 80s Pistons get talked about so much more, and their run was shorter than this team's run.
Yeah. So before we get into this is why we have to talk about this. So we're going to go through the finals game by game, but I think this is important to talk about now.
Yeah.
Since the Jordan championship era, which is 1991, nobody has attempted more free throws in a finals than the Miami Heat with 207.
Yeah.
If I were to take away and go and allow the 80s, all you're going to see are a bunch of 60s and 50s teams where nobody knew what they were doing. And you can't count it.
Yeah.
So
it's just the era of basketball that we don't give a shit about, and Russell just doesn't want to say that, but that's fine. I'll be his.
I was about to say that's your job to bring that shit up. I ain't saying that. R.I.P. Bill Russell, legend. So we are
rip.
So 207 free throws attempted is the most ever, and Mr. Wade, most free throw attempts in one finals after 1962. So now I'm adding some of those shitty years.
Yeah.
Now I'm adding some of those years, and it doesn't matter. 97 free throw attempts for Dwayne Wade is a lot. And even beating out Shaq's famous 2000 finals where he had 39 in one game.
So just to put it in perspective, for the most part, he was hovering around over 8 free throws a game.
Yeah.
That one series, he had 10. In this series, he averaged 16 free throws a game. And I think the majority of them came in those last 4 games.
So this is what I wanted to bring up. So this is the point. The reason why I'm showing you this now is because there is a specific point. There is an accurate moment to where the series changes. It changes on a dime. And it is staggering.
I've always ignored the Mark Cuban complaining about this, but all right, let's keep on.
He didn't just complain. He filed a grievance.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
Filed a grievance against the NBA.
Yeah.
For a screw job.
Yeah.
And we're here to prove as to whether he was right or wrong. But let me tell you something. So far, I'm sure Mark Cuban's looked at all the same shit that we've looked at. All the same shit.
Have, not him.
Running through the free throws.
Yeah.
A whole 9 yards. And I thought this was interesting to start the series. So the Miami Heat arena is the American Airlines Center.
Yeah.
And the Dallas Mavericks arena is the American Airlines Arena. So American Airlines is getting a check.
Oh, huge check.
No matter what. They don't give a shit who wins the series.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But Dallas Mavericks are the 4 seed. Just want to talk about the finals opponent real quick. Dallas Mavericks are the 4 seed. They're led, obviously, by Dirk Nowitzki, entering his prime. he's a few seasons away from his MVP. I think, is that next year or the year after?
I think it's next year, in 07.
Yeah, so he's 27,
is it
9 and 3 with a block a game. He's shooting 48% from the field, 41% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. So getting close to that 50, 40, 90 club.
Yeah.
And this team, where do they rank for pace? I know they move fast in comparison to other teams.
And they shoot threes and stuff. So
they shoot lots of threes. Their pace is low. Maybe.
Yeah.
What am I thinking about? I think it's because of the 3-point shooting that I feel this way.
Yeah.
Their points per game, they're 9th on the year, points per game.
You want to know why their pace is probably slow? Because they like to set up Dirk in the post and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But their offense is
they
extreme.
could speed up. Though this is not a team that would do significantly horrible if you started speeding up the pace.
I want to look at the playoff pace because maybe the playoff pace is higher. Sometimes we see that.
Because I remember seeing seeing some of that footage, it looked like they were pretty high pace.
They were moving.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
Especially Jason Terry. Like Jason Terry was like such an underrated player. I felt like.
You think?
Yeah, for sure. Like he's one of those players that he comes through, and you're not surprised that he's coming through at the time that he's coming through, but he's just not talked about like that.
I feel like especially because of the 2011 finals, he gets a lot of like unnecessary praise.
Really? He was clutch as shit too. Like he hit big shots.
Bill Simmons calls him the most irrational confidence player of all time.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Because he would take some shots that I'm like, why? Like, who are you like to be doing this?
So Mavericks, their pace goes up in the playoffs. They're 88.9. That brings them right to the middle for the playoffs. Not far away from Miami's, right?
Yeah.
Their offensive rating, top 5 for the playoffs. Defensive rating, I think, is also top 5 for the playoffs. And they're
top 4. That makes sense that they were the top 4.
What did they get? Who did they play to get here? I can't remember. I want to say it's the Spurs.
It's the Spurs, yeah, it is.
Yeah, they had a 7-game series. They had a 7-game series in the semifinals with the Spurs, and then 6-game series versus Phoenix and the MVP, Steve Nash, to get here. So they're playing against run and gun offensive teams.
Yeah.
So they can hang. And as we know, West Coast basketball for a while now is a little bit faster than East Coast basketball, and we're going to see that going into this decade and into the next decade.
Yeah.
East Coast basketball is based on defense and inside play.
Yeah.
More grit and grind type deal. But
at least since the 80s, I feel like it's been like that.
Yeah, true.
When you go into the 80s,
higher
all of the
in
90s,
the West.
Yeah, and then even
because obviously during the Shaq Laker era,
it slows down.
The pace slowed down. But it's generally West Coast, more shooting, a little bit faster pace. East Coast, more dribbling, more attacking the paint.
Yeah.
But going into game 1, Shaq is going to go 8 for 11 from the field, but 1 of 9 from the free throw line. Only 17 points. Wade 28, 6 and 6, 4 steals and a block. But it is not enough. Jason Terry, 32 points.
Yeah.
Really, really making you look like $1 million right now. 32 points, 4 rebounds, 3 steals, 4 3-pointers.
Yeah. And the funny part about this game is Miami starts off on a little run and kind of making it look like they were going to be the team to kind of just push ahead. And Dallas slowly just chips at that run and just pretty much beats them throughout the rest of the game.
So and I want to note the free throws. So only 2 free throws for Wade in the first quarter. In the first half here, he's only going to go 3 for 4. For the game, he's 6 of 10. Not too crazy. Basically what we've seen from Wade so far.
Throws. Yeah, that's not that bad.
Same thing for Shaq, right? And like you said, they started off the first quarter hot, and then through the game, Dallas kind of like imposed their will.
Yeah.
And won 90-80. Game 2, kind of similar, but a little bit more of a beatdown. Like,
yeah, because so like without Miami's run up front, it would have looked probably worse for Miami in that first game loss. In this game, they literally just come off looking bad. I think Dallas pulls ahead pretty quickly in that first half. They're up 15 points at halftime, and it pretty much Miami just doesn't look like the team that they've like been looking at like this whole playoffs in terms of Wade dominating and Shaq being able to produce. And the reason for that is because they're just literally throwing mad different shit at Shaq. And I think they're attacking it the way that they should have. Make it so that it's difficult as hell for Shaq. But I feel like at some point they should have switched it. Or they should have ran more zone for the rest of the series. Because especially when you have a Shaq and D-Wade focal point in the team, if you run zone, that literally destroys that team. They can't do shit
I agree with you.
The zone.
And they would go to the zone a few times.
Yeah.
But the main reason why they have to do that is because they don't have the personnel to fuck with Shaq. Like, Dirk has no chance. And they have Desanya Diop and Eric Dampier to guard Shaq. And that's not really enough. So you have to throw double teams. And you have to make them uncomfortable.
But I would have forced that upon Shaq though, because think about it. It's towards the end of the playoff run. This is like he's already been an injury prone player. Like if he tries to overexert himself, he's gonna get injured, and the series is gonna be over anyways. Like I feel like I would have made Shaq be his final self to beat me.
That's what the Nets were trying to do.
Yeah,
that's what the Nets wanted to do. But they had different personnel than this Mavericks team does. And the way they describe it is, we basically had the whole team guarding Shaq, Avery Johnson said. We've seen how he can exploit single coverage. And I feel like they feel that way because they got two fucking garbage cans to guard him. And they don't have the personnel to keep one guy on him. Like, they don't have if they had Tyson Chandler that they're going to have later on when they go to 2011, like, maybe they feel a little differently, but it does work.
That's 100% true. What you just said.
Like it does work.
Yeah,
they are able to shoot their threes and make shots and make the Heat uncomfortable.
Yeah, because even in 2011, the 2011 finals, I remember that like it was yesterday, because they did mention how Tyson Chandler was a huge difference than that last Dallas championship run team, because they were he was like the grit and grind of the team, and it made them much tougher than they were in 06, back in 06.
Right.
But keep on. Sorry.
So this is what I want to talk about. So in the first half, Wade 3 of 4 from the free throw line, right? Yeah. They're down 34-50 after the first half versus the Mavericks. So this is when the series takes a different kind of turn in terms of free throws.
Takes a turn for worse.
So Wade's going to go 3 of 4 in the third quarter, and then 5 of 6 in the second. So just in the second half, he's 8 of 10, which is the same number of free throws he had for the whole game.
Yeah. In
game 1. I believe this is the point where if you're Mark Cuban, you're looking at it and going, the refs, the league does not want to see us blow out the fucking Mavericks. And we're going to do what we can, because in the second half, I think it's a little bit closer. It's 51-49 for the Heat. So the Heat win this second half.
Yeah.
And I think it's in large part due to going 12 of 18 from the free throw line.
But do you think it's also, like, when you're down by that much, you play a little bit more aggressive? Like, that's the hard part about it. It's like, you most likely, and especially, and the even harder part after this is you're down 2-0. At this point, I think in NBA history, only like 2 teams had come back from that. So it was like you're playing with your back against the wall. You have to come as hard as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's where it's a little tough.
And the Mavericks did shoot an equal amount of free throws. They went 16 of 17 in the second half.
Yeah.
So it's
I think that argument there moving forward is Mark Cuban's biggest issue is why is the free throw discrepancy so much? But after this game, Shaq does have a quote, and I found it very interesting. He says he's talking about Dirk Nowitzki. He says he's one of the best players in the world. He's where the big man's game will be in 4 to 5 years. It will be based on whether them guys can play like Dirk or not. I'm going to let my children watch his game. I found that very interesting because that now looking at it in 2022, a lot of these centers games are more like Dirk. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah. So the whole league went like that.
But that goes back to your point as Shaq's talent evaluation and stuff like that. Like he's able to see stuff like that and look into the future because he was probably looking at it as this guy's doing this right now. Now think about when all these kids are watching this dude on an NBA final stage do this thing. Like they're gonna want to be like him.
I don't think Shaq can evaluate high school talent. Like I don't think Shaq should quit his job and be a talent scout. But once these guys get to the league, he's got a pretty successful rate of like nailing people in terms of like what they're gonna ultimately become.
Yeah,
and it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and his eye for that doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion. But all right, so going into Shaq in game. That was why I had this thing up because Shaq's worst plus minus was a game 2. That was the other thing I wanted to talk about.
Oh yeah, true. I do have
outside of that game in Utah.
Too. Yeah,
5 points, 6 rebounds,
and this
just ass soup in game 2.
This was his worst playoff game, along with his worst finals game as well ever.
Yeah,
like I don't think he ever had a finals game where he had double-digit points. I mean, single-digit points.
Yeah, where he had less than 10. Yeah, I agree with you.
I was gonna ask, do you think this did the league change the 2-3-2 format after this?
I
can't remember when it happens, but I know it's
pretty soon after this. It'll be on your screen for sure.
Yeah, because I could totally see it. Really did change the series that the next 3 games were in Miami.
True,
it pretty much moved all the momentum to Miami's side.
Oh yeah, so there's 2 more things about game 2 I wanted to talk about. Shaq, because of that bad performance, got benched, right?
Yeah.
And he was fined $10,000, and the Heat was fined $25,000 because once again he did not show up for interviews. Yeah. After an ugly game. Much to your point.
Like that, to me, that's like such bitch made shit. Like, especially in the NBA finals, come on, you have to like do the interviews in the NBA finals. Like, to me, that's just like such, I don't know.
So Antoine Walker says, Shaq's fine. He's just frustrated. He's a guy that likes to get involved in the game. They're doing a good job of double teaming. So it goes back to just the Dallas defense being frustrated. And so they're going down 0-2. And only 2 teams to this point have rallied from an 0-2 deficit. The Boston Celtics over the Lakers in 1969, Bill Russell's last championship, RIP, GOAT. And the Portland Trail Blazers over the Philadelphia 76ers in 1979. Definitely not in 1979. I think it's supposed to say 1977. It'll be on your screen. But that's the Bill Walton championship that he has over Dr. J. And that was before the NBA Finals were shifted to a 2-3-2 format in 1985. So no team has come back from an 0-2 deficit since they've gone to this 2-3-2 format.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, to your point, you'd think going home would,
it would help more. You think.
Would help more.
Yeah.
Last season,
I feel like that ultimately is probably why they switch over the 2-3-2 format because in this series in particular, I think that helped a lot.
Yeah. I definitely think so too, but it also, one could argue it's easier for the refs to make calls for the home team. One could argue. I'm not telling you that's true. But one could make that argument. Last thing before we go into Game 3. Last season, Shaq called Dallas center Eric Dampier Erica, saying he could be a star in the Women's Basketball Association. O'Neal did not find Tasanya Dia worthy of teasing. So that's how he feels about the competition he's going against, which is probably why he's frustrated at the fact that they're holding him to fucking ass suit numbers.
And it's all about spacing and everything with that too. Like they're not letting him get into his power moves or anything like that.
And so between games 2 and 3, Mark Cuban's going to start talking about parades and shit like that. And Shaq says, Mark Cuban got on TV and started pronouncing the parade routes. That's when I really fucking jumped into the guys, because I was the one that brought him in. Like, see, are we done? This is it? And this brings us to Shaq talking about how nervous he was because he had to change his philosophy with the team. I was definitely nervous. And I did something that I hadn't done with D. Wade and the guys all year. Cursed them out. Because I was having a terrible finals. I was getting fronted, back hit, side. Sounds like he's getting gangbanged, the way he describes it. Avery Johnson made a conscious effort that I wasn't going to beat them. He was like, we're not going to let Shaq off. So they were doubling and tripling. And you know what my question to the team was? What the fuck are you going to do?
So, how you talk about the Spurs never had problems? We never had an altercation.
Yeah.
Only time we had an altercation was when I had to check everybody during the finals that year. Because everybody
going into the finals, or you were already in the finals?
No, versus Dallas when we went down 0-2.
Yeah.
And everybody waiting. Like, yo, man, what you waiting for?
Right.
I got 3 dudes on me when I kicked Antoine, Posey, Flat. So then we, and the respect thing. We were able to go in the meeting and go at each other. And it just turned around. Flat did. I got 4 people on me, though. Everybody focus on me. We going to use that.
Got to.
Throw it to me when they come. I'm going to do something with it. I'll get the rebound.
Mm-hmm.
This series ain't about just throwing it to me, doing all that. I ain't doing nothing right now. I'm old. I ain't doing shit right now. But, Avery Johnson still worried about me. We going to use that.
Right.
When I kick it back out, go to work.
So. What the fuck are you guys going to do?
Yeah.
And D. Wade was open a lot. So I was like, hey, man, what you going to do? You want to be a star? You want to be like Kobe and LeBron? This is your time. I mean, he was a great team player. He always looked for me first. A lot of times too much. But that was the first time we gave him permission. Fuck Shaq. Go to work.
Oh, man.
So, Game 3 comes. Heat win. And Dwayne Wade makes good on that promise to fuck Shaq and go to work. Yeah. 42 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 14 of 26 from the field, and 18 free throw attempts.
The 2 assists is really where you see that he's in attack mode.
Total attack mode.
Can you look at his game log in the playoffs real quick and see how many games he had 2 assists in? Like, I feel like
it's probably a very small number.
And it's probably a majority of them are probably going to be these next 4 games in the finals.
There you go. It's the only time he's had. This is easily the lowest game. And to your point, all of the other ones are in this finals.
Yeah, 5 of the 4 are in those last 4 games of the finals. So that means he was in straight up attack mode,
stepping the fuck up. Yeah. And from a points perspective, also top 4 scoring performances, all in this finals that we're about to see coming up. Yeah. 42 points, 13 rebounds. Dominant. Yeah. Absolutely dominant from D. Wade. And Shaq has talked about this a lot, where he challenged the team.
Yeah.
And really wanted them to take more of an effort because he was getting fucked up.
Yeah. So the big story here is D. Wade, 4th quarter, 6 minutes and 16 seconds left or something like that. He looks at the clock. He sees that they're down 13 to Dallas. That would have meant that they would have been down 3-0 in the finals, and it's pretty much just a death sentence.
Yep.
And from then on, he just goes complete murderer mode.
Yes.
And scores his next 15 points in that in pretty much that span of time.
Yeah. And
if you see, look, 15 points, 0 assists. He was like, fuck that. I'm doing this.
Wade would say later on, like years from now, just talking about this, I started attacking the basket. They like to talk about the fouls in that series, but I was attacking every play.
That's a fact.
You're going to foul me, I'm going to finish.
Yeah.
That's the way my mentality was.
Yeah. And look at the free throw attempts here. He only had 3 free throw attempts in that fourth quarter.
In the fourth quarter.
And they were down 13. So that, and even if you look at that if you like go back and watch that fourth quarter, he's shooting a lot of jump shots.
Yep.
And he's doing that little pump fake and then getting his free. That's how he got those free throw attempts. So it's not like he was like, I don't know. I don't feel like in that situation, it wasn't him not earning the free throws. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Especially when the game was on the line. And Dallas had multiple opportunities in that fourth quarter to stop that, and they couldn't. And it was the last 6.5 minutes of the game.
So they finally get this game. Game 4, Heat come out and just crush.
Yeah.
I think this is back-to-back 40s for Wade, right?
Yeah.
No, he has 36 in this game. He's going to have 40 in the next one. But another dominant game for Wade, 36 points, 6 rebounds, 23 field goal attempts, shooting 56.5%. Shaq, 17 points, 13 rebounds. Because this Wade attacking and being aggressive, it flips it. Now the gravitational pull is towards Wade, and you're seeing Shaq start to pick up his game a little bit. It's crazy how that works.
Yeah.
19 free throws for Shaq and Wade combined in this game. 36 free throws to the Mavericks, 27. With Dirk shooting 11 of 13.
Yeah, it's not even that. I don't think that's that significant.
Dirk, oh my God. Terrible fucking game for Dirk. 2 of 14 from the field. Managed to get 16 points off free throws.
Yeah. This is one of those things that you kind of like, you can't ignore when you're talking about a team won this series because like you just gave up. Like if you win this game, you put a 3-1, you get a 3-1 lead, and that's another like no one's ever come back from that in the NBA Finals at this point. But the thing that kind of really like sets the Heat team on fire is that flagrant foul on Shaq.
Yeah. So let's pull that up 2 seconds. Okay. So Jerry Stackhouse has been having a good series for the Mavericks and has been helpful through this playoffs. And it's kind of crazy how much Shaq flies in the air, taken out by a much smaller man.
Yeah, but I mean, it definitely, I don't think that's a flop. I think that's legit.
I don't know if it's a flop.
I feel like you can't. Like his big that's the most dangerous play. That's one of the most dangerous plays in basketball is attacking someone while they're in the air like that. Like you saw what happened with this year, 2022, with Gary Payton the second.
Yes.
When he broke his arm, it was because of something like that. Like it's like one of the most dangerous plays.
Do you think he deserved to be suspended for this? Which he ultimately was for Game 5, Draymond Green style, suspended for 1 game.
That definitely deserved to be suspended. Because that's almost like it's not as bad as like the Kurt Rambis.
Hell no. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it deserves a suspension. I think it's good for the flagrant, but I don't think he deserved to be suspended.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was that serious.
Yeah, I don't think it's that serious where you got to get suspended. But I'm sure they probably also wanted the series to go longer, so they probably.
So here you go. This is further to Mark Cuban's fucking point.
For sure, because this is like this goes back to like the LeBron James, Draymond situation. Oh, let's kind of help force this Game 7.
That's what I'm saying. So if they keep Stackhouse out, Stackhouse has been their 6th man, putting up numbers for them. So for the playoffs in its entirety, right? For the playoffs in its entirety.
Yeah.
Jerry Stackhouse, 14 points a game off the bench.
Yeah.
Right?
And he's the 4th guy, yeah.
And like very important to the team.
Yeah.
So without him in Game 5, the fact that it's even close is impressive.
Yeah. Like, if he's there, you could argue it probably wouldn't be, it wouldn't be a game.
Mavericks win this game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it.
And especially the way this game ends. Because, like, honestly, Dirk had a shitty performance in Game 4, but he then comes back and just what he was doing in that to end that fourth quarter, some of the shots he was hitting was
and
insane
overtime too.
Yeah. He had. I was about to say he had 20 points in the fourth. No,
that would be amazing. He had 8 points in the fourth quarter in overtime.
Yeah.
Jason
and one
Terry
of them was a crazy high ass fadeaway jump shot over Shaq, and I think that was definitely his only point in overtime, was that fadeaway jump shot over Shaq.
Textbook Dirk shit.
Yeah, that was an insane shot, and it should have been the game winner in my opinion. So going into going towards the fourth quarter, I think the Mavs were up pretty much most of the time towards the end, and they were trading buckets between Dwayne Wade and Dirk Nowitzki for the last couple minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
They go into OT, and then that's when, from what I remember, the end of the game, Dirk hits that fadeaway jump shot over Shaq and I think another defender, and he scores that with, I want to say, 9.1 seconds left, and then Dwayne Wade cuts through some defenders, goes for a driving layup, and they call the foul on Dirk. Sure, there were 3 defenders there, but in that situation, in most NBA games, they don't call the foul. You have to make that shot. They don't call, like, that's always been a thing with the NBA. It's like, when it comes to the end of the game, they're holding their whistles a lot of the times because they feel like players should win the game themselves.
True. And that's kind of the story of this whole series. That's why the Heat get pissed off. So here we go. Wade has the most free throw attempts by a guard in a finals game with 25. Right?
Yeah.
So 25, and I believe that's Game 5 with 25. I'll double check that.
Game 6, the very next game.
And then the very next game is the second most ever for free throws by a guard. Yeah, so Wade, 21 of 25, 43 points, half of them on free throws.
He shot 39% from the field, so that means they were technically locking him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just gifting him more and more things at the line.
Yeah.
Like an absurd amount of shit. And
that, especially that last play.
Let's look at the finish. Yeah. Let's go to the finish. Hold on. Because it's also the ref. It's like they're trying to call a timeout also. And
that was bullshit. That was complete bullshit. I feel like the refs should not have done that.
Tie game. Now Dallas has 1.9 seconds, but they also have the timeout remaining. To get back beyond the three-point line. Oh, no. Josh Howard. Did he call timeout? Oh, my. Josh Howard called time. Joe DeRosa said timeout. Now Bennett Salvatore waving it off. Yeah, that would be their final timeout, and they wouldn't be able to advance the ball. That's correct. This is a huge call right here. And they give the timeout. Howard asked Joe DeRosa for the timeout. If that's the case, the official has to call it. Well, see, the bench, all of the coaches were up saying, no. They did not want the timeout because they only had one timeout remaining. It's hard to see what Avery Johnson is arguing about because if Howard turned to the official and said timeout, they have to call it. The game is tied with 1.9 remaining. Wade has one more free throw coming up. With 1.9, you can make it. Now keep an eye right up here. Yeah, you can see Howard. He put his hands together for the timeout. Yes, he did. And right there, Joe DeRosa. Now you can see the coaching staff immediately. Del Harris and then Avery Johnson come out to dispute that.
Like, that was 100% one of Mark Cuban's biggest complaints, I'm sure.
Oh, definitely.
Because that's
how could it not be?
Even if you misunderstood what the coach was saying, like you should like listen to what he's saying and fix that, because that's such a crucial point in the game.
Yeah.
Like that literally cost them the game.
It did. Yeah. 100%. And all this stuff's important to get into, mainly because, like, this championship in a lot of ways solidifies and legitimizes Shaq's career as a top 10 guy. Like, if he only has the 3 rings, maybe he comes out like immediately for Steph Curry, who's now taking his spot. Like, you know what I mean? Some people took Shaq out for Steph after this last finals in 2022, after Curry got 4 rings. But this 4th championship is the reason why Shaq's in this conversation for top 10. Yeah. And I just think this series is crazy and how much shit goes on.
Yeah.
So here you go. Here's the playing question. Drives. So they call that the phantom touch because Nowitzki barely touches him.
Yeah.
Barely touches him on the free throw time. And to your point, normally they don't bail you out with that shit.
Yeah. You got it.
Very much to your point. They don't bail you out.
To give Wade credit though, he did hit a lot of big shots in that 4th quarter to keep them in the game.
Yeah.
I just think they shouldn't have called that foul for him.
So Avery Johnson was irate. First, because he believed Wade was not fouled by Nowitzki, which could totally have been the case. If you watch the replays in slow motion, which I'll show on your screen, like, you can make an opinion on yourself. Let us know what you think in the comments. But he didn't think Dirk fouled him. Second, Avery Johnson said he signaled to Josh Howard to call a timeout, Dallas's last one, after Wade's 2nd free throw. Instead, the referees, saying they saw a signal from Howard after Wade made the first free throw, awarded the timeout then. So what happened? What that means is, instead of waiting till after the 2nd free throw here to take your timeout, if they take the timeout here, they can move the ball up, and suddenly that 1.9 seconds gets used way differently.
Yeah.
Where now they have no timeouts, and they're forced to just inbound this ball and kind of say a prayer.
Yeah.
And it completely fucked them. And it's kind of just like, as a referee, as a referee, you should know the context of what you're watching.
Yeah. Like you should know. That doesn't.
How many games has Joey Crawford refereed?
Yeah.
He's got to know that these guys obviously want the timeout, not in between the 2 fucking free throws.
Yeah.
Like, you want to let them make their own mistakes, but I just don't.
Yeah, you should definitely know, like, there's some type of miscommunication there. Like, on what the, like, I don't think the player was that dumb. Or maybe he was. Maybe he pulled the J.R. Smith or some bullshit. Like, but I feel like it would have been talked about way more if he pulled the J.R. Smith. I think it was just the referees didn't care to.
The footage will be on your screen of how exactly that gets laid out.
Yeah.
But Mark Cuban sat behind the bench, dressed in a Sackhouse jersey, and stood up to protest virtually every call. Avery Johnson had 2 days to see, first over his team's play, and then over Stackhouse's suspension for a flagrant foul in Game 4. They're gonna leave. They're gonna leave the hotel. I think before this game or after this game. I think it's before this game because they go back to Dallas for game 6.
Game 6.
So I think before Game 5, they like switched hotels because they felt like some shady shit was going down. Some of the conversation will be underneath me.
Yeah.
But
Dallas switched hotels?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you call it? They switched hotels because they're in Miami. You know. There's lots of bitches around.
Yeah.
By the time we got hammered in Game 4, I was looking at my coaching staff and Mark Cuban, and he was like, "Man, what's up with our team?" And the hotel was just, we had families. I mean, it was just a circus. So we made the decision to just try and move the team and have a little bit more of a bunker mentality. Yeah. So they were getting distracted because Miami is Miami, basically.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Like, how would you do that during the NBA Finals? Like,
I don't know. That takes some balls.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's crazy. I mean. Like, especially, like, I just can't imagine Dirk doing that. Like, I'm sure he probably wasn't part of it, but it would kind of make sense why his Game 4 performance was kind of shitty if he was, like, partially hungover. Like
Pat Riley talking about Mark Cuban said, Mark made a point about a lot of things, but he also disrespected in some way the emergence of Dwayne Wade because all of his vitriol, I think, went towards this young player who simply put his head down in every situation and attacked the basket. And I remember Mark Cuban, that he looked up at the commissioner sitting in the middle, and they're yelling and screaming at him and yelling and pointing at him and shaking his fist at him. And I don't think that helped his team, to be honest with you. Yeah, you think? Probably fucking not. For sure.
I'm sure the commissioner was probably like, keep on doing this shit now.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like those Clipper teams that Lindsay fell in love with. They argued too much with the referee, and that's why they were never able to sustain success.
Yeah. Well, so some quotes that they were saying throughout some of this playoffs was Riley was comparing Shaq to Kareem. And I just thought, I'm like, I don't understand why people do this. Like, I feel like you just see two all-time great players, and you're just like, yeah, this is what we did for Kareem, so this is what we're going to do for Shaq. And it's like, let's totally disregard that Shaq is 400 pounds.
And a completely different man. Just a completely different human.
Yeah, like, I was just like, why do people do this? Like, I'm like, at least compare it to where it makes sense. Like, they're similar stature, they have similar careers, stuff like that. It's just insane to me when I see some of that stuff. I don't know. But Game 6.
So this is important to note. This is the Pac-1 suit game. And in the Basketball Hall of Fame, and I am so pissed off I didn't take a fucking picture to put on this podcast, but I walked past the one suit that Pat Riley himself packed. He gave it to the Hall of Fame. It's in the Hall of Fame. The one suit that he packed, for this finals. Awesome. So Shaq's direct quote here is, Pat Riley said, okay, we're going back to fucking Dallas, and I'm checking everybody's luggage. We're only going to play one game. Whoever has more than one fucking outfit, you ain't fucking coming on the road.
Yeah.
So when we got there, he actually checked our bags. Pat Riley was at the fucking gate checking everybody's bag. And there was one guy, not a player, but another guy that had more than one outfit. And fucking Pat made him go and catch a commercial flight. He really did. It was a video guy. Pat was serious. Like, I told you this was going to happen, motherfucker. And he was just a different, not mean, but he was like a different, energetic Pat. We're going to pack one fucking bag. They're done.
Well, did you see the quote where he said his wife cheated and packed another suit in his luggage? Did you hear about it? Did you see that?
Yeah, so Pat Riley says, I would have worn the same suit. I would have worn it. I think my wife, she ended up cheating and putting another one in just in case. But I told her, asshole. Don't you dare tell me. So good. That shit
so
is so
everybody,
funny.
after they won the game, and they see Pat in a different suit, probably ready to beat this nigga's ass. Probably ready to beat the old man to death. Yeah.
But yeah, so they go to Game 6 with the mentality is, and did Pat Riley steal this from Michael Jordan? Is really the question, because we know Michael Jordan did this in '93 with the Phoenix situation.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only packing one suit.
Yeah.
Fucking. So it could just be a stepped up version of this.
But he did it to the whole team,
Well, Pat Riley definitely went more literal about it and literally checked motherfuckers' bags for suits, which is insane. But Dwayne Wade, Shaq, terrible game. 9 points, 12 rebounds. Awful game to win your championship on. But Wade, 36 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 4 steals, 3 blocks.
Yeah.
And the second most free throws by a guard ever in the finals game.
As well. But Shaq also had five personal fouls too. So
kind of the story of his playoffs for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Dirk, 29 and 15 in the closeout. Jason Terry, 2 of 11.
Yeah.
But the Heat make good on, Shaq more specifically makes good on his promise to Miami and his promise to the organization to bring a championship to the city of Miami, right? Pat Riley and Shaq had each promised Miami a championship parade when they arrived, nearly a decade apart, because Pat Riley arrived at the end of the Jordan era. And because of Wade, whom Riley drafted with the 5th overall pick in 2003, there will be a celebration on Biscayne Bay. I think that's how you pronounce it. I made that promise because of D. Wade, Shaq said. I know that being on a championship caliber team, you got to have a great 1-2 punch, and D. Wade is a fabulous player.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest NBA finals statistically of all time is this finals here by Wade. But I think the controversy behind this championship is warranted to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Because the free throws, as we showed, they changed the moment the what felt like the world looked at this finals and went, oh, Mavericks got this in the bag.
Yeah.
Like, that's when the free throws really stepped up. And he's had basically somewhere around 50 the last few series, and he goes all the way to 97.
Yeah. Almost double. Yeah.
And
that's significant.
He's going to get the finals MVP, 35 points, 4 rebounds, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. Shaq, 14 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 assists on 61% shoot.
Yeah. So
How many fouls did he have?
I just added up, because he was at around 52 in a lot of those series, on the high end.
Yes. Yeah.
And so if you go back to that, back that out, that's 45 free throws in those 6 games. That's 7.5 attempts.
Right.
That's insane. It is definitely significant. I do think he was attacking more, but I just don't know if it was that much more to where he should be getting that many free throws.
He definitely got an assist. The refs definitely gave him an assist and gave him the Michael Jordan level of if you touch this guy in the thigh, it's a foul.
Yeah, exactly.
There was definitely a lot of that.
And Shaq also announces that Pat Riley was his best coach during this.
Yeah, what was that all about? That was just some in the moment bullshit, right?
Yeah.
I added that at the end of the notes because I was just I felt dirty. I felt dirty watching why does he feel that way? I don't understand.
I don't know. Pat Riley's not his best coach.
It does help Pat Riley's legacy a lot, this championship, though. It is very impressive.
Yeah.
So he won his when was the last time he won a championship?
In the 80s.
That's what I'm saying. Long time apart.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess. I don't know.
The only other guy who's really won championships that far apart is Phil Jackson.
And Greg Poppy.
I'm just looking. That's why I was thinking about it. It's Phil Jackson won all his championships with the triangle. Pat Riley won a lot of his championships because of Magic Johnson. So I guess this is really the first championship with his identity. I guess that's true. I guess that's fair.
Yeah.
But as I said before,
just because I do think that he put his identity in those Lakers though. Like that Magic, like it was the Showtime was Magic Johnson's things, but he definitely added the grit and grind to those Lakers and made them be able to face the Celtics and win the next 2 times. Because they got punched in the mouth the first time they faced the Celtics.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And that's kind of what changed that series around. But to your point, 16 free throws a game for Wade. But do you think Shaq gets the appropriate amount of respect for this championship? Do you think he deserves less or more?
I think people who don't know, like, I mean, anyone who's like looking at it from a logical perspective, I think Shaq deserves credit, definitely deserves credit, and he even says it himself that he was the second guy, like the sidekick in this championship run, which is exactly what he was. I think he came through in big moments when they needed him, which is what the second guy is supposed to do. So I think the credit he gives himself is appropriate. I think some people just...
the credit he gives himself is always appropriate. That's Shaq for you. That's what he does. He's all about giving himself credit.
Yeah, no, but I mean, like, in terms of, like, the amount of credit, he's saying that... Like, he's saying, I wasn't... Like, that wasn't just my doing. Like, he always says that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Versus, I think other people kind of make it seem like Shaq just won that championship and, like, they give him more credit than he deserves in that.
I think this team, this 06 Miami team, is kind of underrated, like, as a whole. Like, it for just like that a 1 year, like, get to the championship type deal, because they really became a team through this playoff run. Similar to the 2001 Lakers with Shaq and Kobe, how they have a rocky regular season, and then in the playoffs they really gel and start to get like an identity and shit like that. And I think, not to say that this team is that good, but I think what Wade did during this playoffs is historic, for sure. And when we inevitably do his legacy breakdown, we'll probably be repeating some stuff, for sure. But, like, this changed his legacy dramatically. And I don't think Shaq can be considered a top 10 player all time without this ring.
In my opinion, this championship made Wade's legacy. I think if he didn't win this championship, Wade is not looked at as the same player as he is right now. Even if he wins 3 championships with Miami with LeBron coming in, I think a lot of people look at this championship run, and especially because I always thought of it as Wade went crazy in the playoffs and Shaq was helping them throughout the regular. Like, I thought it was like Shaq was wilding in the playoffs, and then when it got to the finals, he started. Something happened, he diminished, and then Wade went crazy. And after really looking at this, it was Wade's team. Like, it was Wade going crazy the whole time with Shaq's help. And then he had to go completely crazy because Shaq couldn't help him anymore. Like, that's pretty much what happened. And I think that's what makes him get looked at like that. Like, when you say Wade's like the third, like, top 3 shooting guard ever, like that, I think this championship is what makes it that. If he just only won 2 championships with LeBron and didn't win this, and let's say they lose this championship, I think a lot of people argue when you say that he's a top 3 shooting guard all time.
That's definitely fair. But what he did here was, like I said, historic,
for sure,
fucking amazing, and really puts the seal on Shaq's career. And that's the one thing that I wanted to get through. And also, like, certifies it. And Shaq has his moments here, like the 30 and 20 game, the 2 game 6s that we talked about, right? Yeah. Like, he, it's just a really solid team. TEAM team.
For sure.
And, like, you know, I'm very interested to see as we go past this point, where Shaq fits in the lexicon of the NBA. Like, where he fits after this. Because we know from a statistical standpoint, his numbers are about to go. Like, they were going like this.
Yeah.
Now they're about to go like that. Just straight to the ground.
Yeah.
And
I'm curious to see what he's gonna be asking for money wise, because I know that that's one of the issues. That's one of the issues with Miami. But I'm curious to see what happens moving forward.
And we're gonna get into all that and more next episode. Hey guys, if you like what you heard, be sure to check out our YouTube channel. Just type in Apex Greatness on YouTube to see everything we put out this year. From legacy breakdowns to current NBA and NFL content. We have over 150 videos to binge if you're that type of person, or just to listen to in your spare time. We have about 2 to 5 hours of new content every week. Check us out. Later.